J Squad.
We gotta find. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue.
Let's go. What's going on, man? Listening to this opener at 1 times speed is something else. Why do you say that? Good or bad thing? Huh? Oh, man. How's it going, everybody? How y'all doing today? Oh, we've got a little bit to talk about. I've been kind of avoiding talking about it, trying to gather my thoughts on what's actually going on. Because I have some agreements and disagreements on the whole situation. And then you've got people like the collective shout shit is just cancer. Like the company that's doing it is cancer. The people going after it are cancer. It's just like a slugfest of the anti-woke just slapping everybody who is on their same side about that censorship because they don't like them. But we're going to do some stuff beforehand. As always, there I am. There I am here for you. Let's move over here. Let's get the gaming up and running. Let's get ready to go. See what we got. Verdium. There it is. I added a mod that's one of my favorites, like quality of life mods, pickup and haul. I added some other ones for some offline gameplay, but pickup and haul basically lets you prioritize hauling certain things. Makes it a little bit easier when your pawns don't want to do shit to get them moving instead of just slapping them around. There we are. Let's let Cracks go. Cracks is still incredibly injured. We haven't done much with him. Left shoulder's been shot off. His big toe's been shot off, and he's covered in burns. And then this showed up. This body, 2 streams ago, we ran into, and now it's back here. So I'm gonna build a little area for it. Little zone to dump it in, and we're going to try something here. It's probably not going to work. I don't know. I haven't done this mechanic yet, but we'll see if we can get it to work. Nope, no chunks, no animal corpses. Get him out of here. And then I want you guys. So we're going to watch another movie beforehand. It looks like Nick Andros. If you don't know Nick Andros, he's in like the commentary space. He's well known for being an intense hater of Nux Taku, and in that regard, Mutahar as well. So he just made a video about Mutahar, calling out Mutahar, saying that he's not the tech specialist that he pretends to be. So we're going to take a look at that before we start looking at some of these videos. I watched an interesting video on Mercy as well. Listened to it on Mercy, and I listened to a video that was talking about Mercy. And I have some problems with the way the video was done, but it's going to kind of give us a little look-see at what the game Mercy was. Because from what I'm understanding, Collective Shout is the one that got that game taken off. And then since then, they have gone... Well, they got taken down in Australia. Like a lot of this seems to be focusing around Australia. It's affecting other countries because Steam will just like delist from everywhere, from my understanding. Though I don't think that's completely true because Australia's always had a history of absolutely banning any game that they can. Sometimes they make it back, sometimes they don't. But let's start off with this Mutahar one here. We'll go ahead and get started while I'm doing that. Hey, why isn't that on? Oh, game capture. Doop. Boop. There we go. Boom. Just make sure it's on everywhere. Window cap. Scene reading. This one is, I said, from Nick Candros. Mutahar has been a fake engineer for 10 years, so it should be good.
Welcome, I'm Nicandros. If you've been following Some Ordinary Gamers...
His voice is crazy, by the way. That's like actual bass to it.
Mutahar's behavior the past year or so, you might have noticed that something is up. He quits Twitter suddenly, causing people to panic, and then rejoins Twitter quietly months later. He says he won't buy a Nintendo Switch 2, and then instantly buys one when it comes out. There was even that time he disavowed his longtime friend, Nux.
He must be on his 10th puberty, yes.
Down and apologized. Apparently he overreacted to a video criticizing him for watching lowly hentai with Naxtaku, and not for anything else.
Wait, you showed more in those videos?
That's a video I'm still working on, and this video you're about to watch right now is a little appetizer I've cut out of its body of research, because it was getting too bloated as it is. Anyway, despite saying he would quit drama, not only did Mutaha return to drama, he decided to join forces with Ethan Klein to go after Hassan.
Dude, oh, is he joined the Ethan Klein fucking bullshit? Jesus. So, I'm so, like, it's just crazy, that whole Ethan Hassan shit. And it doesn't surprise me he's moved into it. Every time I turn around, it looks like he's stepping back into drama for one reason or the other.
Sam Piker. It's an odd choice because Ethan doesn't exactly have the highest opinion of Mutaha.
Do you have the part where Mutahar runs outside with a gun?
I don't, but
I'm like, dude, these people are insane. Boogie's not even the craziest one in that room still. There's a point where Mutahar goes, oh shit, is someone stealing my car? And he runs outside with a gun. And then he comes in 30 seconds later, oh no, it's chill, it's just my brother.
oh my
Like,
god.
this pseudo badass weird fucking shtick he's doing is not it. And frankly, he's so mean-spirited and nasty, and he has this weird thing where he needs to act like cool and he's so successful and rich. He tells Boogie, dude, why don't you upload more? I upload every day.
This right here. This is how we take care of bodies. Toss that over there. There we go. Now you stop that. No, don't put it out. Don't put it, you retards. You're killing me. You're killing me. Not home zone. Not home zone. Let it burn. Thank you. Go somewhere else. Get over here. Go somewhere else. You. Here. Drop the Molotov so you don't start a revolution with them. And that should burn away. That's how you deal with corpses. Back to our regularly scheduled program.
And YouTube's not even my job. I was like, shut the fuck up, bro. I think he thinks his real job is being a day trader. I might be wrong about that, but I mean, that's pretty funny. But like, yes, it is. Shut up, bro. I'm uploading every day. Ugh, I really got turned off by Mutahar in that one, man. Really did.
Nice.
Poser, and he lies about having a job outside of YouTube. Those are pretty heavy accusations. But who has the time to watch through over a decade of videos and streams to check if he's telling a consistent story? I certainly don't, but I know much faster.
He will be. Look, see?
With only.
Don't tell me he's not. What does that look like? Right there. That looks like burning, does it not? Just take some. Okay, that's not good. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let's go stop that, please. We get someone. You go stop that fire before it gets out of control. All right.
A few hours of effort. I can just search all of his video transcripts at once for certain keywords and timeline the claims he's made.
I play video games and scratch my balls most days when I'm not working. I wake up.
No, what are you
I
doing?
do my job and then I fucking.
Jesus Christ, chick, back off.
Balls, play some Mass Effect, make a video, and like.
What is wrong with this chick?
And that's it. I wake up, I scratch my balls, and I play some Mass Effect. Okay.
The way Mutahar talks, I'll say this, like, I liked his, deep dive stuff back, especially when I was into more of the cybersecurity scene and stuff like that. So I like to hear about the websites and things like that. And I was a dumbass thinking that he actually knew what he was talking about. But it's still hard to listen to him in the way he talks. It's like that. It's like Moist Critical in the way he talks. They're just, it's unnerving.
I wake up every day, I do my job, I scratch my balls, I play around with Linux, some video games, and that's my life, dude.
Before we get into it, isn't this stalking? Isn't this a violation of privacy? No.
No.
Going by
There's another one.
made public through peace.
What the fuck? I'm gonna go back so we can hear that. Why is there another one? Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna leave that there.
Pieces of media he's voluntarily published on his YouTube channel, or public media appearances he has consented to. I'm also using information from a video that shows his LinkedIn page, which is something he seems to be cool with. He can do whatever he wants in his private life, but if he's claiming to be a doctor or an engineer to make his perspectives more valuable to an audience, validating the truthfulness of these claims about his life become a matter of public interest. If a History Channel was receiving undisclosed funding from a foreign state, publishing that information would be in the public interest, even if that knowledge was gained.
Okay. I think Nick is going a little bit too far on the making sure that this is legal. Like, yes, this is all legal, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to go this far with it. Like, I think it's pretty clear that you can talk about his stuff as long as you don't drop any actual personal information on him.
Through violations of privacy. Violating someone's privacy to humiliate them by exposing their porn browsing habits would not be in the public interest. But I haven't gone there, and I don't need to. I also completely disavow and denounce any kind of harassment or actual stalking behavior. Based on my findings, Mutaha has consistently claimed that YouTube isn't his job.
Hey, YouTube isn't my job. Thank God my job isn't YouTube.
YouTube is not my job.
YouTube is not my job. YouTube is not my job. YouTube is not my job.
YouTube is not my job.
I use YouTube as a hobby. This is not a job for me, okay?
He works a regular
Like, I work a regular job every day. I go to my office.
Is this true? I wonder, because he streams a lot, or he doesn't stream a lot, but he makes a lot of videos. I mean, I can say that I do it, but I only, 4 times a week, 3 hours. It's about all you get out of me.
Office. I work.
For now.
I come home, I cut together the video that I recorded the night, or 2 nights or whatever before, and I post that on the internet. It is a therapeutic, fun thing for me.
So what is that job? If you ask Mutaha's fans, they think he's a cybersecurity expert, an IT professional, a video editor. Ethan said day trader. There seems to be an awful lot of uncertainty about this definite.
Now I need to increase the grift. I mean, I'm trying. I got $5 TTS, like and sub at the top. All that other stuff. I'm working my way up there.
Mutaha has. Mutaha's also insisted throughout his career that he is an engineer.
I'm an engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm a goddamn engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm only an engineer. Oh, I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer.
I'm just an engineer.
I'm an engineer. I'm just a fucking engineer. I'm a goddamn engineer. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer. As an engineer, being an engineer, I don't have to tell you as an engineer. I'm just a dumb engineer as an engineer. My engineer asked, but as an engineer, so I'm just a fucking dumb engineer. Like, I can tell her, like, I'm an engineer. But I'm an engineer. As an engineer, I'm an engineer. As somebody that is an engineer, as an engineer. I'm saying I'm the number one engineer as an engineer. As an engineer.
I mean, I know it. It sounds so. I work at Blizzard. Oh man, just absolutely. I mean, the people that constantly brag about what they do always seem to be the worst, right? Never fails. They end up being fucking terrible. I'm retarded on the internet. I'm retarded on the internet is used way too much for people who fuck up something, right? That's like, I get it. If you mess up, admit that you messed up, but don't use I'm not a journalist. I'm just a retard on the internet.
Engineer. All right, as an engineer, I'm just an engineer. Speaking of somebody that is an engineer, I'm an engineer.
I'm an engineer.
But there's multiple types of engineers, so what kind of engineer is he?
I'm a fucking computer engineer. I'm a computer engineer. Dude, I'm a fucking computer engineer.
I'm a YouTuber. Why are you asking me?
And I'm just like a computer engineer.
Yeah, it's used as a pass and how stupid they really are. Yeah, right. When everyone already knows we're YouTubers, of course we're stupid.
Default.
Like, I'm a fucking computer engineer. I'm a fucking computer engineer. You want to talk about cyber warfare? I'm a computer engineer by trade. I'm a computer engineer. I'm a computer engineer. I'm a computer engineer. No, I'm a computer engineer, okay? I'm a fucking computer engineer. I'm a computer engineer.
In the United States, people throw around the word engineer like candy. But in Canada, it's a bit more protected, especially in Ontario where Mutaha lives. Now, I do want to give the disclaimer that I'm not a lawyer or a Canadian. I'm just a guy who looks stuff up online, and based on what I've read, it's actually illegal to call yourself an engineer.
This is unironically the textbook definition of grifter. I mean, fair enough. Claiming that you're something that you're not, and not believing in what you talk about, sure. Illegal to call yourself an engineer. Claiming to be an engineer without being licensed is against the law. Titles such as professional engineer, professional licensee, engineering, or any title including the words engineer or a related abbreviation can only be used by those who are licensed. This also applies where such terms and abbreviations are combined with name, title, description, letter, symbol, or abbreviation. The use of terms of abbreviations to imply someone is licensed with a regulator when they are not can result in legal action. True. Yeah, but I feel like this law is written more for somebody who is posing as an engineer, right? Like, can you say that he's using it to make money outside? I guess he's using it to gain credibility on YouTube, but I don't know if this would pass. Like, I don't know that they would put Mutahar in jail for lying about being an engineer on YouTube.
Licensed engineer.
Unless he was making like videos about engineering stuff. So, well, then again, maybe if he says he's like a software engineer or a computer engineer and he talks about antivirus and practices and stuff like that, so maybe it could fall into that.
Ontario engineering regulatory body, Professional Engineers Ontario, claims to take offense to even titles like software engineer being used instead of software developer, but they do make an exception for terms like train engineer, broadcast engineer, or sound engineer, which are not professional engineers in the same way that a computer engineer or a civil engineer would be. Calling yourself a computer engineer to a public audience is like saying that you're a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer. You might as well call yourself a doctor or a therapist. For Mutahar to be a licensed computer engineer, for him to be able to legally call himself a computer engineer or an engineer in general, he would need a 4-year degree, 4 years of training, and to pass the national profession.
Probably nothing burger if he doesn't practice it. Yeah, that's my thought.
Then he could only call himself a computer engineer graduate. This is where things become a little bit difficult, because Mutahar is apparently not just a computer engineer.
I'm a video engineer now. I think I know how this shit fucking works.
Mad Sparrow?
If I wasn't a computer science engineer, I wouldn't speak about Elon being an idiot. But as an engineer, yeah, I'm going to call him a fucking idiot because he does do idiotic statements.
This is why, as a cybersecurity engineer,
a computer engineer is very much a real thing. But a video engineer or a broadcast engineer isn't a real professional engineer. While computer science graduates often work in software development, sometimes called software engineering, computer science isn't an engineering discipline. So computer science engineer doesn't really make sense. Cybersecurity engineer is once again using the word engineer as just a job title. Mutahar clearly wants the prestige of being perceived as an engineer, given that he's been calling himself an engineer for the past 10 years. And he uses this title to make himself more authoritative.
But I'm an engineer. I know how this stuff is going, so I'm not even...
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that he's trying to make himself look credible. I mean, so far I haven't seen anything that says he's not an engineer. But it's... you get to this thing now where people just want to believe what you say, what people say. Like, you want to have good... Especially in a YouTuber that you like. You want it to be real. But... there's too many people that are just out there actually grifting or using it to gain credibility or any of this other stuff that we see happening. So you shouldn't believe everything you hear from people calling themselves stuff. I know I've learned that over the years.
If you want to disagree with me, feel free, but you're actually wrong. As somebody who is a computer, engineer, somebody who understands computer code, for instance, hearing Elon talk about computers and anything code related is actually mind-bogglingly stupid.
It's not clear what kind of an engineer he is. So, what education does he have?
Like, it's a really good explanation of why, I picked engineering as, the road to go down when I was studying. I'm like...
So, he would have an engineering degree.
I went to university for computer sciences, and that's it. Education background, asking a lot of CS knowledge. Yeah, well, I did computer engineering. when I fucking went to college. That's what I did.
Become obsessed with corpses.
Science degree.
Okay.
I thought when I got
Hey, what's going on, Simon?
like a semester in, because I was like, okay, no.
Oh, he dropped out after a semester.
Like I'm a dropout myself. I've never finished university. But I'm not talking about like school. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to learn to be valuable. Yeah, if you're going to be an engineer, if you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, if you're going to be in the STEM field, you need to go to university. Okay.
You need to go to university to be an engineer. But Mutahar is a dropout. He has no degree.
Were you a computer science major? Yeah, that's what I went to for college for a little bit. Dropped out of it. You know. I feel like there's a weird misconception. People think I'm like some fucking crazy degree holder. It's like, no. No, I would have been way more in fucking university debt if I went down that fucking route.
I should wonder why people might have that impression.
Is it bad if you don't get a STEM degree? Like, I'm gonna sound biased as fuck, but STEM degrees all the way. I'm gonna sound biased because, you know, as an engineer, like, you know, you want to get the degree that's gonna get you a job.
Another one?
You know, a good job. Not saying other degrees can't, but like, smart.
Sometimes he says he didn't always want to be an engineer.
My biggest thing was I didn't really want to be an engineer anyways. Growing up, I didn't really want to do anything. I actually wanted to do law. I didn't go through law. Honestly, I didn't even want to be an engineer when I grew up. Like, I wanted to be a lawyer for the longest times.
So it makes me think like he's one of those guys that he's learned a little bit about something from going to school. So now he thinks he's that thing. You know what I mean? And that's just what that's just where he's gone wrong. Like he thinks he hinges all of his credibility on the fact that, hey, you know, I might not be an engineer, but I could say I'm an engineer, right? I've done enough schooling.
He says he's a former engineer.
So, like, being a former engineer, like, I virtualize, like, everything, so I, like...
Why is this thing here?
Ex-engineer.
The coolest ways possible. I'm like a fucking ex-engineer.
But here's the thing. He's been saying he used to be an engineer, or that he worked as an engineer, for 10 years.
I wanted to share sort of my engineering background with you. Okay, I worked as a fucking engineer, all right, before I went into this shit. I think I know this. I also like to mess around with technology. I myself used to be an engineer before I went into the video editing route.
Mutahar started his channel in 2012, the same year he turned 18.
Yeah, he's basically Pirate Software 2.0. What a surprise. All of these large YouTubers are fake in some way or another.
Video editing route, he means that he switched careers after his channel began taking off.
And the interesting thing about this whole YouTube stuff is it actually made me change my entire career choice. You know, I never really thought of myself as an individual who, I mean, I expressed talents in film production and everything, and, you know, I never really threw myself into it. I did stuff on the side even before YouTube as well. But this really changed me, and it made me more passionate in the whole, you know, video production side too. So now that is my field of choice. Now I work as a video editor. For those of you who don't know what I do outside of YouTube, I do that. I work as a video editor for my own post stuff.
Okay.
Programming, cybersecurity.
Authenticity is dead in the current internet landscape. I mean, it's, yeah, you're not wrong, because you have to, you want to put up a front to get the likes. You want to be the personality that people want to watch. So you give a personality that you think is going to be popular. Like, you know, just about anybody, I think, does that. It's so lame. Like, people will not give opinions on stuff because they don't know which opinion to give. And it's just like, just be yourself and be entertaining. Why are we doing all this mess?
The penetration testing work he talked about early on are jobs he supposedly did before he did YouTube, and he didn't like doing it.
Before this, I was a depressed individual, and I was going to go through a certain set path in my career and just go through that and move on, right? And there was a point where I really didn't think there was much else. I was going to go through the motions and everything. And then, you know, to cut down on the stress, and I still have stress issues nowadays, but, you know, back then...
And everybody's got to talk about their stress and their panics and their anxieties. And listen, I get it. Everyone has their things. Go stop. Really? Fire is like a problem. But anyway, you know, there's nothing wrong with having people to talk to about your problems. That I agree with. You shouldn't be yelling it to the internet or to your fan base for sympathy. I just think that's gross, and it's manipulative. It just makes you look manipulative.
Crazy amount of depression and stress
in my eyes.
And so to counteract that, I decided, why not do YouTube? And so, one night I went onto the Google Create account and did it, and and then we started making videos. I told you guys, I'm a guy who used to code bank applications, really boring shit. Now I'm a dude who cuts stuff together. All right, who edits stuff.
Wow.
Film, TV, all that stuff. And I can't stress to you all how important that is to me. And you all have inspired me to go out and chase that dream. You all inspired me to fucking sit in front of my computer and make a video when I have some off time, and I fucking love doing it.
Baby Mutaha liked to edit videos, and after starting YouTube, he switched careers from computer engineering to film and television, and this...
Oh, okay, hold on. You must destroy it now. Where is it? Rex, what's going on with you? Mental state, corpse obsession. Where's everybody else? Where's this body at? There it is. Come out here. Come out here. Get it. Get it. Oh, we got a shard. Cool, 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 cool.
Actual
All right, back to it.
Comes in.
I worked in film and TV before.
Computer engineering to film and television, and this is where his actual education comes in.
I worked in film and TV before I still don't have a fancy fucking degree, okay? And there you go, I filmed it, alright? I used my film degree to something.
He calls it a film degree, but it's actually a 2-year broadcasting/videography diploma he got from Humber College between 2013 and 2015. If he went back to studying to get an actual engineering degree, he never mentioned anything about it. Not a single slip. Mutaha was never a real engineer, but he's been calling himself one for a decade because of tech jobs he supposedly had before.
So he went and got a degree in like the movie industry and then became a YouTuber. It's like a tale as old as time, but now he's calling himself an engineer or a computer engineer or a software engineer. That's fucking nuts.
For 2013 or 2012.
Because I never tell people like what I do. Like I never tell people anything, right? Like I don't even tell people I'm not an engineer. I haven't been one for like years, like fucking for eons at this point, right? Like in internet time.
What he calls him being an engineer is something he did for only a little bit.
I can imagine, like, for families, like, I mean, just an Indian family alone, it's like, son, you've got 3 choices for what you're doing, all right? You got 3 character classes, doctor, engineer, or maybe a lawyer, all right? Like, that's it. So, I did one of them for a little bit, and then I just pretty much stuck to, this life now.
Imagine if you worked as a mechanic in high school, and 10 years after quitting that job, you're still introducing yourself as a mechanical engineer. From 2015 to 2020, he claimed to primarily work as a video editor.
That's because I'm a fucking editor in real life anyways, so... Ever since I became a video editor, and that was my job in life, I work as a video editor. That's my job.
What I do for a living is video editing.
I wasn't always a fucking video editor. Am I a fucking passionate video editor? Do I like my job? Yes, I do. My job is video editing. I'm a video editor by trade. Video editor? That's how I pay for the strip club and the home?
And initially called himself a video engineer.
I'm a video engineer now. I think I know how this shit fucking works.
It's not but he was still calling himself an engineer. In 2019, he conflated being a video engineer with being a computer engineer.
I'm a computer engineer, so I really a video engineer, whatever you want to call it. I'm one of those people, so...
Again, totally different qualifications. One is an actual professional engineer, the other is a job.
Fucking snaky. It sure sounds better when you say engineer, though. It's not wrong.
In 2020, Mutahar claimed to be an exceptionally successful day trader.
Now, for those of you who don't know, one of my side hobbies turned basic, general second profession of mine is day trading, swing trading, whatever you want to call it. I like to sit in the mornings, sip my coffee, go on the NASDAQ, see what I can look pre-market, buy, sell, and be done by, 11 or something, and call it a day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's something that I've been doing for almost a year, give a couple months, and it's definitely a very, it's a fun part of my lifestyle. I'm a very mathy guy. I do a lot of calculations in my head. I lose money, but I generally have an 80-85% success rate, and that's just the nature of this stuff.
In 2021, he claimed his job was trading and investing.
My job right now, I just sit around and trade and invest. That's what my job is.
But he was still an engineer or a computer engineer. Apparently his dad calls him an engineer who knows.
Daddy says I'm one.
Sitting in the room, it's like, when it comes to computers, do you talk about it with my son?
Makes you wonder, he's from the Indian family, there's the stereotype about high expectations for the father. So does he just call himself an engineer so his dad will leave him alone? And it's just spread to the internet?
Do you act like an intelligent person? Because my son's a fucking engineer, okay? If I'm wrong about computers, I'm gonna believe what my son said.
Yep, that's what it sounds like.
Engineer, not a doctor. Fucking insane, dude.
But he also just sits at home and invests money.
I invest. That's my job now. I just sort of sit home and invest money.
Now, if I was ashamed of only being a YouTuber, that is the job I'd be claiming to have. When asked by guests on his podcast about his computer work, he claimed it's only a hobby.
The Indian families are ruthless about their kids' careers. Yeah, there's a reason it's a stereotype.
Now,
I don't know how much you want to delve into this, but do you do computer stuff on the side, or that's your main thing?
I literally just invest money. I buy property and I invest, and that's all I do now.
You're at that point now, you're that big of a baller, Buddha?
I wouldn't say it's baller, it's just
do you do programming? I don't know why that took me 3 different ways to ask that.
I do it, it's more of a hobbyist thing now for me personally. I'm trying to work around with consoles.
Hobbyist.
Engineer shit that I have.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So that's what I'm into now. It's just it all has become a hobbyist thing for me at this point. For me, I look at it, it's woodworking and shit. Those woodworking channels. I'm this is just me sitting down for 2 hours and working on.
I'm so badass. I just sit down for a few minutes and I reverse engineer stuff. I'm just a badass.
Long form project, but not something that I would ever care to ever be bothering doing again, even as a career path. It's just too stressful. Sure. It's boring, compared to anything that we do now,
In 2023, he's calling himself an engineer a lot, just like before. But in March, he claims he just invests money again.
Were you into business before doing YouTube? No. After I worked, and then it's pretty much my job. I worked, and then now I have enough money to buy property and invest.
I engineered 7 years at Blizzard. Correct.
Pretty much what I do.
In August, he gave the impression he still worked as an engineer.
All right, as an engineer, if I show up to my office and I fuck up, okay, I don't have a job anymore.
But then he also mentions working at his own company that does asset management and property development.
At our company, not YouTube, but outside YouTube, when it comes to our main work property and everything, our asset.
Oh yeah, he's a landlord thing now.
Development and stuff like that.
So before YouTube, Mutahar did the computer, programming, cybersecurity work he thinks entitles him to call himself an engineer. Between 2013 and 2015, he's studying his videography diploma. From 2015 to 2020, he's a video editor, and from 2021 onwards, he's a day trader, investor, and eventually the CEO of his own company that does asset management and property development. He's also called himself an engineer the whole time. We already know he's not an actual engineer, but is he actually a business owner? Because there's some weird inconsistencies in the things he says about it as well.
As a boss, and I don't know, this is gonna sound kind of cold, but I don't make jokes at the office. I don't make any fucking jokes at an office.
Who does? Okay. No jokes. Come on now, you can make some joke. Like, I get it. Don't make like inappropriate jokes. Don't make the jokes you make sitting at your computer talking with your online friends. Sure. But like, you're just straight faced, fucking serious Sam.
I am not this kind of Mutahar, okay? So to explain what kind of person I am, like at the office, I'm just like, how's work? What are we doing? What's the plan for today? Like, literally, it's as matter of frank as I can be. I don't partake in jokes. I don't do any of that fucking shit. And if I see fucked up jokes, you know, which I haven't seen, I stop that shit right there. I always have to you always have to be professional at your office. And sometimes you come across as like a deadpan motherfucker, but it's better to be deadpan than, you know, turn your office into like what I mean is like I never would have my office turn into like frat house workplace. Like it would never be a frat house.
He would never allow his office to turn into a frat house. But 8 months later,
to be fair, like there is a betting pool in amongst like my office friends because we do talk about like which gig streamer's dying first.
Yeah, and
isn't that pretty fratty? Isn't that a fucked up joke?
You know, which I haven't seen. I stopped that shit right there.
Maybe he just sucks at maintaining a professional culture. Could it be possible that Mutahar has been faking having a job all along? Doing daily uploads while being a CEO 9 to 5 is a pretty busy schedule, as Ethan said. When he was on the Unsubscribed podcast, Mutahar made sure to let everyone...
Wait, he was on Unsubscribed as well? Holy shit, this guy's like weasel his way in everywhere.
9 to 5, and that he's a very serious businessman.
Legitimately still have a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I have a 9 to 5.
Dude, he works in hours and hours. That's what, like, this is why I respect it. How many subs do you have on YouTube?
I think like 3.4 or 5 million or something. I don't know the exact
3.5, like 3.5 million. We'll say that. And you're still doing multiple 9 to 5s where you're running different businesses. You were talking about
I'm the CEO of the company. Like I'm the CEO of like our own group. We do a lot of like property and like asset investment around where we live, construction and everything too. So it's
I'm both a Spurg on the job and in the internet, but at the job, no one knows because I'm surrounded by walls or inside the server room. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm pretty calm at my job, actually. I probably don't spurg out as hard as my job. My job requires me to be firm with people. Like it has to do with, like, I want to say security, but it's not like what you think. I'm not a cybersecurity guy. I'm not anything that. I'm more like a door greeter. So, but I don't mind having to say no. I think it would be funny to see you spurg out, Kamoji.
It's like,
I mean, it's funny to watch online.
For us, like my job is a 9 to 5 every day.
Door greeter engineer at Blizzard. Thank you. Get the entire title right.
You upload how many videos a week?
A day. Like I upload it every day.
Jesus. This is why exactly, and why I always.
He really loves bathing in that praise, but not enough. He needs to flex more.
Well, that's like the algorithm tell, right? Like when you're like an engineer and somebody's like, man, why does the algorithm keep feeding me? I'm like, bro, what's the last 10 things you watched? Gay porn? It's probably going to give you the 11 videos. I'm just saying.
Driving there, we were talking about cybersecurity because that's what you went to school for. You're like, homeboy's very smart. You do actually business, and then YouTube is a
YouTube is always like the secondary.
Okay.
Then he brags about his charitable donations, and we see behind the curtain how uninformed Mutahar actually is.
Like for me, it's like the receipts. If I could tabulate them up every year, you know, like like during COVID, I probably gave away $200,000 of charity. And it was like out of personal accounts. I don't write any of this off for taxes because I don't believe in writing off charity for taxes. I think it's a pretty shitty thing to do.
Writing off charitable donations is a shitty thing to do. How? Why? All that means is that the money you donated is tax exempt. It means you can donate more money to charity, as Brandon Herrera says.
It's a pretty shitty thing to do. Well, for me, it's like
the more money you can write off, the more money you can keep from the government and spend it better. You know, putting it toward more charity.
The money that I
How can you
no.
CEO of a company, a serious businessman who knows his shit, but you don't understand basic accounting.
You want to talk about social battery, like 7 is when I get up. I got to be in meetings every fucking day. My work day doesn't end until like 4 p.m. That's when I get like a chance to open up the Premiere Pro project file for the video, and I get to work on that, and then I get to...
I guess it is raining. Never mind. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Like, I literally can't believe in a day off. Like, I'm always like jittery.
He's got to be so full of shit. Like, doesn't believe in a day off. I can't stand the people that work like for tons and tons of time and fill up their leave time to have like 300 hours of leave, and then they brag about it. And I was like, you're bragging about working all the time? Dude, use it. It's the company is giving it to you so you don't have to be there. Right? Yeah, workaholics. Well, it's one thing to be a workaholic, and it's another thing just I guess so. I guess workaholic is the word. I don't know. I hate it, and I just want to take off every ounce I can. Yeah, those people are the worst. Are you one of them, Angry Canadian? Is that you? Doing your 12 videos a day?
I do work. Like, I really do like enjoy doing work. Like, any day that I don't feel like I do my job, about it, I'm like, this fucking sucks.
He works till 4 p.m. every day and cannot take a day off. However, he seemed pretty happy to take a day off to watch a video game commercial from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on a Thursday.
I love to
read 12 videos a day, minus 12 videos a day.
The best part of doing YouTube content creation is reading the comment sections of what a video has to offer. You know, as a content creator, the coolest thing is like when you see like 1,000 comments on a video. Because I'm somebody that likes lurking internet forums and just reading internet discourse, right? Especially when it comes to topics I enjoy. So
Get one of these.
Comments, you're like, all right, shit, let me line up and get ready, boys. Let me read that shit.
Oh, that would probably be why.
Wife, he's a CEO, he works 9 to 5, and he uploads daily. How do you have the time to read YouTube comments from random people? Check this out.
You should be an upstanding, good citizen, okay? I wake up, I do my job, I come home.
Many of the
I don't think there's anything, when I say those people, I'm not talking about people who just save up their PTO, right? I think you should have a little nest egg, but then to never use any of that PTO as if it's some kind of, I don't know, sin to take a day off. That's what'll bother me. You know, I'm saving up right now for something that I have to have in March, but so I'm saving up that thing. But even before that, I try and make sure that there's a little bit of wiggle room in case, you know, emergencies happen. That's just the way it is. Boom, 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 ba-da. I mean, some people think the job falls apart without them. Yeah, some people do. It's like, no, it'll make it without you. Dude, my last year in the service, I banked up all of my leave so that I could, so that last 2 months, I didn't have to work. Then my final month, I just did out processing stuff. Yeah, see, that I can agree with it more in the military, like banking leave to just take the end of it off. That I'm cool with. I mean, because you can bank quite a bit and then you can just use the leave as needed. And there's a purpose. It's like, oh, I get to have 2 months off before I get out of the military versus anything else. And sometimes, like, militaries can, you know, the military time can be slow depending on where you are and what you're doing. You can't have weekends off. You can, you know, take a day here. So my thing and my hatred is more towards the people who just absolutely won't use it and treat it like it's some kind of award, some kind of trophy that everyone should do.
The instances where Mutaha says YouTube isn't his job are from videos where he rants about how unstable YouTube is as a job because of their never-ending policy changes. These things supposedly don't impact him. He does YouTube to relax, but he's always obviously upset in these videos. He consistently paints himself as a hard worker.
It sounds like you worked really hard in high school. You're talking about taking night classes, doing community service, like side jobs on the side, like...
God. the community service kind of stuff too. Look at all the charity I did as I was a kid.
Yeah, no, it's blurred. But yeah, I'll help you understand.
He has this insane work ethic, but he's also curious about how Destiny can get so many things done.
I noticed that you do like a lot of canvassing. Like you actually go out of your way. You've launched your own like podcast with like other people, the Bridges, and it's like, what is next really? Like, how do you kind of manage all that too? That's the other big thing that I kind of wanted to come into, because it's like it really feels like you're a one-man show, but you're doing like a lot of shit and you're managing it pretty well.
Destiny's too lazy to cook for himself. He's not the workaholic with an excessively tight schedule he can never pull back. If Mutahar's stories about himself are true, he should not be impressed by Destiny at all. Mutahar also often claims that he's an immigrant and equates that to him being poor or his family being poor. He will say his father had to go through medical school twice, not recognizing the privilege of being able to go through it even once. You don't need to come up with all these hardships you've been through. Everyone can already see your life is a struggle. You're not white, and you still can't say the N-word.
Oh man, the Indians have it so hard.
His other laugh about not buying anything expensive.
Very rarely am I trying to pay full price for any of this computer crap. You don't need to, all right? I don't overspend my money on crazy computer chairs. I think whatever I can get at Costco fits me fine enough. As far as my peripherals go, I have some SteelSeries headsets, keyboards, and a Logitech mouse, which I think is really awesome. If anything, I overspend on my monitors.
He's so frugal, but he also owns a luxury diving watch worth almost 10 grand. If you have an easy life because you were born to a rich family, just enjoy it. If you're rich, just enjoy being rich. Improve your production value. Get some acoustic treatment. Get some monitor arms. Show your audience that if you work hard and succeed in life, you can have nice things. Why not? So, was Ethan Klein right all along?
I upload every day and YouTube's not even my job. I was like, shut the fuck up, bro. But like, yes it is. Shut up, bro.
I'm not going to claim that Mutahar has absolutely no jobs beyond YouTube, even though the things he says about his business are very vague and inconsistent. However, he has definitely been lying about being an engineer for a decade, benefiting from the prestige, the authority, and the credibility that comes with that label. You don't call yourself an engineer dozens of times.
Richie's remorse.
You're talking about programming jobs you did 10 years ago. He's clearly mostly just a self-taught tech enthusiast, not an engineer. He's seen as a cybersecurity expert or as a cybersecurity engineer, as he called himself.
This is why, as a cybersecurity engineer...
But when he assisted Nuxtaku in tracking down the V-Shoujo swatter, he fell for a basic social engineering trick where the swatter, who was a minor, pretended to be one of Nux's fans who knew the swatter in real life.
Oh.
A bunch of bogus information.
I appreciate the random fan who was in that Discord server that actually contacted me and reached out to me about...
What a surprise. A YouTuber fucked up some kind of research and investigation. Maybe we'll see more of that soon.
This stuff? Oh my god, you guys are legends, honestly.
V-Shoujo's cybersecurity expert knew this was bullshit. The cybersecurity engineer did not. Mutahar doesn't do drama content anymore because it's all needless negativity, and YouTube isn't his job. However, he still weighed in on the pirate software drama after videos about it began going mega viral. What insight is Mutahar, the computer engineer who knows all of this shit, going to weigh in with?
No. Right now, as a video editor, I do more engineering now, so back-end programming for effects work. I'm working on a new codec for video right now for H.265, so we can actually transmit better video quality at higher resolutions. I'm actually doing something which I want to sell to Microsoft at some point later on. So I've been designing AI toolset that basically you can inject, hopefully, into like video tools, and this is gonna be like video games or whatever, right? So it's like, let's say that Microsoft backwards compatibility, right? So I had this tool idea. This is kind of what I got going in my head. So I have this idea, and I hope to one day sell it to Microsoft, right? So what I do is I have a really good video background, right? I've been designing neural stuff around it. So what I want to do one day is, you know how Microsoft has backwards compatibility, right? So would it be really fun if I could design a way that Microsoft could take the textures in their video games, right? So they could take the textures mapped in their video games and find a way to AI upgrade them. So like basically use a fucking photo AI, like basically use an artificial intelligence that can scan across, you know, all these textures and just fucking upscale them to like 4K, 8K, whatever they want to go to, and make games look better without needing
So a normal
developer.
So a normal upscaler. Like that just sounds like an AI upscaling tool
to make it better, right? That could be an idea for me. It sounds simple on paper. Obviously, it's very, very, very fucking time consuming to make it even as effective as you want.
He knows how to program video encoders. He knows graphics APIs and AI tools in 2019. What does he know in 2025? What can he add?
One of the code bases that we're looking at over here is this falling particle. Now, there's a lot of numbers that are being dropped in here, and one of the things that you'll tend to see in Pirate Software's code is magic number abuse.
Nothing.
So like the same basic take that everybody else has been saying about it.
Nothing new. Nothing that Coding Jesus didn't say in his video, which Mutaha keeps mentioning.
There's nothing wrong with having shit code, right? There's nothing wrong with being bad at it. I'm not a fucking great coder either. So I'm actually doing something which I want to sell to Microsoft at some point later on, but I'm also not claiming to be this crazy fucking guru hacker expert in the world.
Yeah, for the past 10 years you've been claiming to be an engineer, a computer engineer, a computer science engineer, a cybersecurity engineer. You fuck with code.
Dude, I'm a fucking computer engineer.
I'm a YouTuber. Why are you asking me?
Code.
You do programming as a hobby, but when it comes to showing your knowledge, you only know the basics. Now you're here judging someone for inflating their credentials. At least Pirate Software's lies didn't break the law. At least he actually worked at Blizzard for 7 years.
I don't know about the law thing.
Have an ego. You gotta be able to match it with the skill. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that skill is all the way there. Unless that skill is making a whole lot of spaghetti code. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Just like I'm out.
Man, what a great way to end a video. Let's check out some of those comments. We love reading the comments from regular commenters like Mr. Obvious. I wonder what he's into.
Mr. Obvious says, my feel win, I might as well be all for. And then we see some lolly here featuring some underage characters. Here's 2 more drawings of underage characters posted by Mr. Obvious. Kind of strange, isn't it? Mr. Obvious says, boys heart emoji. And then underneath that, we can see a photo of an underage girl who is pulling anal beads out of her anus using her feet. That's quite the talent.
Jesus Christ.
Let me line up and get ready, boys. Let me read that shit all day.
What is going on here?
My appetizer for my upcoming video. Given his inconsistent stories, Mutahar is either lying about his job and business, or he tells really pathetic made-up stories about them to sound more interesting. Once again, I am not a lawyer. It might not be illegal for Mutahar to lie about being an engineer, but by any reasonable definition, he is a total fraud. He has no
are we not doing
degree or even a computer science degree, but he still presents himself as an engineer, a computer engineer, or a computer science engineer. He is not trained in this field, and he is not employed at these roles. He is a self-taught hobbyist, a dilettante.
Did he just break?
An engineer. Despite admitting that he hasn't been an engineer in years, not that he ever was, he continues to introduce himself as one, letting his audience's imagination conclude him to be far more qualified than he actually is. It does not matter that he seldom admits to being a former engineer or that
what is going on here?
Yes, the bigger picture that he's painting to his audience.
There we go.
A licensed, actively practicing engineer, which, based on his own statements, isn't true and cannot be true.
Max is the thinnest skinned bitch that I've ever seen when it comes to taking actual criticism on the platform. There is a way back from the mistakes that he's made. It just involves taking actual criticism to account and realizing that yes, your entire career was a lie. Maybe it's time to turn that around, but he doesn't really want to be doing that. He wants a win when he can't even carve one out.
Mutaha has been telling this lie for 10 years. This lie is almost too old for his friend Naxtaku to masturbate to.
Oh god, oh no, Mousy, what, you recognize these numbers?
Oh no, come here. Come here.
What do they mean?
Jesus.
Tell us! I've never have lolly and Guro and bondage all in one thing. That's amazing.
Oh my god.
On the topic of recklessly allowing the audience's imagination,
This is nuts.
what do you think about this clip?
Oh, what? Bro.
Censored video of a real child.
Just sent you a video of them shitting and then shooting a dog with a Nerf gun.
It's a funny coincidence that the last time I reminded Mutaha about his own country's laws, it was about him watching cartoon child porn with Naxtaku, not realizing that in Canada, it fits under the legal definition of child porn.
Wait, you showed porn in those videos?
He tried to ignore the comments, but then Hassan Piker drew attention to my video. Mutaha panicked, and he threw Naxtaku under the bus while obfuscating his own culpability.
Oh, is that the reason it happened?
Land, so they settled everything in private and still lie about what happened. Why
I know.
40-minute hit piece.
Like I said, I know Nick Andros is like #1 Nux and Mutahar hater.
Where he condemns someone over and over again. No reason. It was just a goof. And oopsie, he's not hiding anything. There was nothing incredibly immoral and disgusting that he was aware of and tolerated for years. Something he would condemn any other person for. But in this case, he swept it all away. They also were not the only ones who knew about it and stayed quiet. The truth will soon be revealed. Remember to subscribe to see it when it drops. Next time, things are gonna be a little bit different.
Let's make sure. Okay.
One more thing.
At least where I live, in the okay, I don't want to like dox myself through this.
As just a public service announcement, you shouldn't make it a habit of mentioning how far a certain location is from your house.
I actually called up a EB Games near my place, probably like minutes away.
Because of caption searches,
there we go. That's what I'm looking for.
years can be found in seconds, giving potentially
Oh no, back up.
to triangulate
Back up.
the location of your house.
No, get out of here.
Fortunately, only done it literally once, right after moving into his current house.
Now, of course,
Oh, pause. Jesus. I just probably lost. Get in here, boys. Break that. Break that fool. Okay. I was not ready for this. Oh no. Well. Yep. You killed your colony? I did. Well, these guys are still here. They... Fuck me. I shouldn't have gone into that room as far as I went in. I should have just opened the door and walked back. But no, these guys are all going to bleed out. Let's see here. Yep, 4 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours. All right. Well, here we go. Oh man. And that's Rimworld.
Context, this house is like minutes away from the...
Now, I'm sure Mutaha's lying about the travel time estimate here, but just don't say anything like this. It sets a really bad example to other creators. You also shouldn't show a picture of yourself somewhere and forget to censor all the names of the stores, even when they are at an angle. I am not an IT guy, but I know how to do this.
Looks like we're going to be flying this ship out of here. Those are supposed to be easier sights. All right, so that was our buddy Nick Andros talking about Mutahar. I mean, surprise, surprise, Mutahar is fake. So, okay, there we go. It is back up and running. I think I lost connection there for a minute. We're probably going to be getting out of here soon. We got food. Probably going to have to move pretty soon. So anyways, next up, we're going to talk about this whole movement that has come up recently with the collective shout a little bit. I'm going to watch some videos and see if I can come up to it. First thing I wanted to do is kind of like go to the beginning and figured out kind of where it started. And I found a video that I think is going to do that just fine. I've watched a good portion of it, and it's basically going over mercy, no mercy, and kind of the thing behind it. Now, like I said, I've watched much of this video and I have some problems, and I'll talk about it when we come up to it. But this is what are you crazy folks talking folks up to tonight? Well, I just killed half of my colony. So it's just me and Cracks is the only one yet. No Mercy isn't that old. Yes, it is old, but I want to get to the beginning of this collective shout. And apparently collective shout is the group that was behind Mercy and then started pressuring, for further games to get destroyed or just get taken down. So we're going to start with this game where this guy describes it and go from there, get a little bit deeper into the weeds.
Hey, it's Matt from Hidden Machine here. Today's video covers some very taboo and extreme topics. It's about a game called No Mercy, which is a very extreme game that has caused a lot of controversy and has had a huge impact on indie gaming and game preservation.
It's almost done.
I think it's an important topic to cover, but I want to give a little warning here that it is very taboo and pretty extreme. That said, the video itself isn't horny.
Yeah.
It's not, glorifying anything like that. So check it out with caution, and obviously this video will not be monetized. If you like what we do and want to support the channel, check out the Patreon. Thanks to everyone who does support us, and let's get into this talk.
I have
Earlier this month, itch.io de-indexed all adult NSFW content on their site, making it unavailable to reach through searching or browsing. This was the direct result of a campaign led by an Australian activist group called Collective Shout, who are described as a force against...
So yeah, from the sound of it, it happened to itch.io first, which I thought they were like the secondary from this, but it seems like they were the first. And it's moved on from there.
The pornification of culture. Collective Shout has campaigned against other games, but this most recent activity is in response to a game called No Mercy, which was released in March of this year. By the middle of April, the game had been banned in 3 countries. The game was removed from itch.io, and the developer and publisher of the game voluntarily removed it from Steam.
Yeah.
No Mercy is a pornographic visual novel about incest and sexual blackmail, and the game contains plenty of depictions of both consensual and non-consensual sexual acts. It's a deeply misogynistic power fantasy, which is exactly the type of content that Collective Shout would like to see erased from culture. The group made direct pleas to Valve concerning No Mercy, but when Valve didn't respond, the group went to the payment processors who Valve works with. These are companies like PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, and others. Making these sorts of appeals to payment processors has led to many kinds of pornography being banned on platforms like OnlyFans and other sites that allow.
So, this is my big question. This year has really been a shit show. No kidding. You know, you thought like years before were bad, but the absolute bum rush into retardation that this year has been is crazy. So, Mercy obviously was removed from the store and it was banned off of itch.io, but a lot of this is happening around Australia. Like, when it comes to the banned games, are the banned games only in Australia, or is it over the whole platform? I think that's something that I need to find out.
Users to upload and sell their own adult content. Groups like Collective Shout put pressure on the payment processors, and in turn, the payment processors put pressure on platforms like Steam by threatening to
pull the whole place. Okay.
Payments. This has led to both Steam and itch.
Well, I guess, yeah, if the payment processors get involved, which is, you know, what's been happening more recently with it, which, you know, watching this video has changed some of my outlook on it, or it's at least made me think harder, and we'll see if the rest of the video changes that. But the way Collective Shout is going about the whole thing, I can absolutely just not agree with, right? It just not something that I want to be, like, I would agree to be a part of, especially as far as they're going.
.io removing many games from their platform.
My kind of firm stance that's always been this way is, like, I don't agree that these kind of games are on Steam. But I don't think that they shouldn't exist, right? Where the payment processor plan is definitely going through and saying, no, you will not be able to buy these games anywhere because Visa and MasterCard will not process them.
Platforms. According to a statement from Itch, the situation escalated so rapidly that de-indexing all adult games without warning was the only way they could keep the site running. That action has led to a massive backlash, with many gamers calling the move cowardly and others calling for a permanent boycott of the platform. There is a lot more to this story, but before we go too much deeper, I want to talk more about No Mercy. Hearing that this game was so vile that it had to be banned in multiple countries, I became curious to know what it was actually like. So I tracked down a copy and played through it. So you don't.
So I'll say this. This is a kind of a crazy thing to do. Like, I get the idea. I get, you know, wanting to know the truth behind the game. I don't know that I would go this far with it. So, you know, kudos to him for being able to go through and play the game.
I heard a lot of rumors about the game, including one that claimed there was a scene that allowed you to impregnate a woman and then murder both her and the baby.
12% expectation.
Where she later gets pregnant. The game features a scene where you kill both her and the newborn child.
While I haven't combed through the entirety of the game files, I definitely didn't encounter anything like that, and it wouldn't really make sense in the timeline of the story. Still, the game is undoubtedly full of scenarios that many people would find morally reprehensible, even in a work of fiction. I'll go over the events of the game in as much detail as I can without things becoming salacious. The game opens up by asking you your name. I decided to roleplay as Larry David, which is something I do in any game that allows me to define or create my own character.
Calling yourself Larry in a porn game is kind of interesting to me, considering there was a game when I was a kid that, while it wasn't a porn game, Leisure Suit Larry was very much a gooner game of its day.
Next, you're asked to define the relationship between you and your father's wife. There's a prompt here suggesting husband's son or just son. You can put any word you want in here, it's just a variable for the game to call on while displaying dialogue. However, if you do decide to put in the word son, the story in the game becomes that much more taboo. Next, the game asks you to define the role of the woman in the game. once again offering suggestions like stepmother or mother. You then name this woman and chose to call her Sassy. The game then plays out over 7 chapters and a prologue. The core of the story revolves around Larry David discovering that Sassy has been cheating on her husband. Larry walks in on the act and snaps a pic.
The No Mercy review is crazy. It gets better.
Uses that picture as blackmail against Sassy. Larry David, or whatever you decide to call your character, is a total psychopath. He's a college student, and Sassy, or whatever you decide to call her, is a 37-year-old professor at the university that Larry attends. The morning after he caught Sassy cheating, Larry is...
So not only is it incest, or, you know, in this case, I think he picked the stepmom, but it's also the teacher fantasy.
At school, trying to decide his next move. He then sticks out his foot and trips a fellow student named Tommy. Tommy owes Larry money for some weed that he sold to him. This is where you get your first real taste of the gameplay in No Mercy. You can choose several actions here. Actions that you choose will directly affect your relationships with various characters in the game, allowing for different scenarios to play out or for different choices to become available to you. I decided to kick Tommy in the gut and extract a few more dollars from him.
You got to get that money.
After, Tommy's mother arrives at the school and asks to speak with you privately. She wants you to stop selling drugs to Tommy and offers to pay you off. However, Larry isn't interested in money and instead pressures her into blowing him, using the promise of Tommy's safety as leverage. During this encounter, you're shown various dialogue options, with the more extreme and demeaning options offering you extra points.
So extra points to be demeaning. Got it. Woo. Nice.
You can also choose to choke Tommy's mother during this encounter, but not to death. It's just a light choking. After concluding your meeting with Tommy's mother, you head off to class, which just so happens to be taught by Sassy. For some reason, the lights don't work, and it's starting to get dark outside. So Sassy takes attendance and then dismisses the students. Larry decides to stay behind. He locks the doors and approaches Sassy. The two discuss what had transpired the night before, and Larry makes it clear that he intends to manipulate...
All right, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. I don't need the full range.
Ends with Larry getting headbutted and falling to the ground. The next episode sees Larry walking around downtown, where he encounters Sheila. Sheila is an environmentalist who is trying to raise funds to protect the local beaver population. Larry proposes a special offer to the desperate activist, and the two engage in some private business in a nearby alleyway. As with almost every encounter in this game, Larry once again uses coercion, intimidation, and force to get what he wants.
I mean, this just seems like a game that's like absolutely made for that weak incel who never has any control over their life kind of game. So, yeah, you know, makes sense.
After returning home, Larry and Sassy have another encounter, and this time things progress even further, with the act in question reaching a sticky conclusion. The next morning, Larry's father, John...
Sticky conclusion is just fucking wild.
...unexpectedly comes home. John is a trucker who is in the middle of an extended trip, but was able to arrange a one-day visit with his family. He takes Larry out to lunch, where he confides in Larry that he believes Sassy is cheating on him. John has decided to freeze the joint bank account that he shares with Sassy, under the guise of it being some sort of issue with the bank. He assumes that Sassy will reach out to another man for help, and that this man could be the person who she is cheating on him with. He gives Larry some extra cash to cover food and bills while the account is locked, and asks Larry to keep a close eye on Sassy. Larry sees this as an opportunity to further manipulate Sassy, since he'll be the only one in the house with any money. Meanwhile, Sassy is back at their home, taking a shower and contemplating her situation. Once she finishes, she heads to her bedroom to change. Unbeknownst to her, John and Larry have come back home, and Larry is hiding behind the bedroom door, waiting to take advantage of her. He makes a move, and she pushes him off, causing a commotion that alerts John. He comes into the room to see Larry on the floor, and Sassy, startled and naked. Somehow he laughs this off, and the scene ends. Later that night, the family is watching television together.
Okay, I'm gonna have to.
With jealousy at the sight of his father cuddling with Sassy. Eventually, Sassy falls asleep on the couch, and John heads to bed, but not before proclaiming that he'll be taking some sleeping pills to help him fall asleep very quickly. 1 minute and 13 seconds later, Larry finds another opportunity to take advantage of Sassy. The next minute, John sees Larry and Sassy both asleep on the couch. He thinks nothing.
So most of the Goonergate peddlers got it? Yeah, pretty much. I don't understand these games. I never will understand these games, right? It just seems demented to play stuff like this. But, you know, I guess to each his own. Grum should take notes from the Untitled Met Game story. Yeah, he should. I mean, it's probably further along. I mean, this is finished, so it's probably further along than any other story he'll see go through. Really? Oh, there you go. See what you did to yourself?
Once the two are alone in the house again, Larry initiates another encounter with Sassy. Later that day, Sassy's sister comes over. I named her the President, but her default name is Eve. Eve is having trouble with her computer and asks Sassy to send Larry over to help her. Larry stops by Eve's house and immediately begins creeping on her. She brushes this off and pours herself a glass.
Did you have to show that picture, really?
Wine is one of her defining characteristics. Larry then sees a photograph on a table. The photo was taken 20 years prior and shows a young Eve and Sassy out on the night of their high school prom, standing with a mysterious man named Lopez. Eve describes Lopez as a shady business guy and the only friend that Sassy had back in high school. After examining the photo, Larry heads into the bedroom and begins troubleshooting the computer. After briefly considering installing a camera on the computer to spy on Eve, he goes into her browser history and finds that
Jesus, just like an absolute creep. Things that normal people wouldn't think about.
Very specific fetish. She likes to watch videos where a nephew blackmails and
that picture is crucial for the plot. If you say so, Kimoji.
sexually dominates his aunt. Larry sees that he's the perfect candidate to fulfill her fantasies, and after fixing up the computer, he makes a move on Eve.
Oh, whoops.
She rejects him and sends him home.
Big dude dead.
Once he's gone, she admits to herself that the encounter excited her, and she immediately begins to entertain herself. Sometime later, Larry is waiting for a bus back home and has an hour to kill. He decides to go to a nearby lake and jack off. Still thinking about the photo he saw earlier, he decides to see if he can find any other pictures of Sassy from around that time. By typing in 2005 college party Sassy, he somehow finds a photo of Sassy taken on the same night as...
You haven't done that? You haven't gone on the internet and just instantly found a picture of somebody? Oh, that doesn't sound real. Is it this one? Oh, maybe it died. Okay, fair enough. Go back in.
As the prom. Through a deductive minigame, we learn that the photo was taken by Lopez, suggesting to Larry that there was some kind of romantic relationship between Sassy and Lopez. Later, Larry returns home and has another encounter with Sassy, and the two further discuss their situation. Sassy wants to distance herself from Larry, but reluctantly goes along with his advances. As you talk to Sassy, you'll be able to spec into either a domination path or a love path, which will affect the events of the game's ending. I chose the love path, mostly because I was already feeling disturbed by the game's content, and I didn't necessarily want to see things become even more sadistic.
Okay, so this is the part where the first part that I got to that I have a problem with the way the guy did this. Like he's kind of going through this thing where he's kind of downplaying it for like a it's not as bad, kind of deal. But he's unwilling to go through the actual work to see just how bad it is. 50 Shades of Grey and White. I mean, at least in 50 Shades, there's some form of consent, I guess. There's novels and stuff like this and movies that are graphic and stuff like that. So it's not like it's unheard of, right? It's just, does it belong on Steam, where, me and Kimoji talked about how Steam's parental controls work and how I think they're underused. There's a real problem with them. But I mean, if you're going to go through this, because it's such a visceral game, right? People are saying it's so bad. How do you know how bad it is if you don't go through the worst ending?
Later that night, Larry receives a text from Eve, asking to meet up the next day so that they can talk about what happened after he fixed her computer. Despite being coy and claiming to not actually want to engage in anything sexual with Larry, we are then shown a scene that leaves no question as to what Eve's actual desires are, as she once again entertains herself at the thought of being with Larry. Meanwhile, somewhere outside of the city, John is fueling up his truck. Marco, a fellow trucker, appears from the shadows and asks John if he would like to join the rest of the trucking crew at a local brothel. Staying true to his wife, John declines the offer. We then go back to Larry and Sassy, who have yet another encounter. Larry then heads out to a local convenience store to pick up some drugs that he plans to sell. Suddenly, a woman calls out that a thief had stolen her purse. I chose to pursue the thief and retrieve the purse, but then I also chose to steal the money in the purse for myself. With the earnings, I was able to secure 2 bottles of wine, some lingerie, and a blindfold. Larry then heads over to chat with Eve, who answers the door wearing a towel.
You'll have to speak up, I'm wearing a towel.
Larry presents the bottle of white wine, which is Eve's favorite, and the two sit down to talk. Larry pulls up the photo of Sassy that he found online and asks Eve what she knows about Sassy's relationship to Lopez. Eve says that after the night of the prom, Sassy and Lopez had some kind of falling out, and that afterward they never heard.
There are a lot of problems with Steam, like the banana game, which I heard might be part of a money laundering thing. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. Shovelware gets pushed a lot. You can talk about the gambling sites that have sprung up around their Counter-Strike and how it's monetized. It's a lot of I think what people don't realize is a lot of the stuff that Steam gets credit for is normally some change in law somewhere that they had to adhere to. It's not usually them doing it for the gamers. Yeah, the banana game is just an NFT game. Yeah, see, it's fucking Steam isn't the complete nice guys that people would like them to be, right? The fighting for gamers company.
From Lopez again. Larry continues to ply Eve with wine, commenting on how drunk he is. Obviously, the situation advances, and the two spend the night together. Next, Larry heads over to Tommy's apartment to collect the rest of the money that Tommy owes him for the weed.
Too late.
Breaking into the apartment and finds Tommy's mother on the phone. Larry initiates another encounter with her, using the same intimidation tactics that he employed in their first meeting. As the action ensues, Tommy walks in, and Larry taunts him. Larry then leaves and returns home to have another encounter with Sassy. The next morning, Eve stops by, and she and Larry engage in a quick encounter while Sassy is in the next room. We then see a scene from Tommy's house where his mother confronts him about his drug use. She expresses concern over his safety, but Tommy's thoughts are preoccupied, and we get confirmation that he has developed an Oedipus complex. The story then returns to Larry, who decides to visit a retired police officer in his neighborhood, acting under the assumption that if Lopez actually was a shady businessman, as Eve described him to be, then maybe the officer might have some information on him and his possible criminal history. The officer doesn't have anything to offer at the moment, but says he'll get back to Larry eventually. Larry returns home and tells Sassy that he wants to take her out. He rents a nice car for the evening, and the two go clubbing. Larry loosens Sassy up with alcohol, and they hit the dance floor together. Sassy is having fun, but Larry crosses a line, and she decides to go off by herself for a while. Some time passes.
I'm not rescuing it. I'm not rescuing an 82-year-old man who's about to die. Just let him die there.
Sassy. He hears a commotion in the bathroom and finds a barely conscious Sassy being cornered by a stranger. Larry fights him off, and they head back out to the car together, where they have yet another encounter, after which Sassy falls asleep, and Larry drives them back home. The next morning, we see John sleeping alone in his truck. He's approached by a prostitute, but he rejects her advances. Meanwhile, Sassy and Larry discuss what had happened the night before. Throughout the game, Sassy expresses that she is uncomfortable with what has been happening between them, but at the same time, she is often being compelled by her own emotions and hormones, with Larry's constant negging furthering.
Groomed. It's an adult getting groomed.
Her confusion. She can't deny that she's grown closer to Larry, but she still feels used and ashamed. Larry is unfazed by this and heads downtown to run some errands. He gets a text back from the former police officer, who says that Lopez apparently disappeared without a trace. There is barely any record of Lopez anywhere, and the officer wasn't even able to find Lopez's full name, which he says has never happened in his entire 30-year career in law enforcement. Larry then wanders aimlessly until he notices Tommy's mother through a store window. He walks inside, intimidates her once again, also intimidates her further in front of her husband, and eventually brings her to a dressing room for another encounter. Now, depending on your previous choices, the scene can include an appearance from Tommy, doubling down on the game's incestuous themes. Larry then heads to a Japanese-style bathhouse where he's scheduled to meet...
Could have had the two things mixed up, but isn't NFT sort of money laundering of a sort also? No. Non-fungible token. I mean, it's crypto stuff, so it ends up being rug pulls in the long run. But it's like, what was that? Monkey one, retired monkey that got real popular. Don't hold me to it, to what I say in chat. It's just idle chat. I'm going to hold you to everything, hands down. But yeah, I mean, it's... NFTs is just another version of crypto, just in a different way. So using pictures and images versus imaginary coins. I'm not a huge crypto guy. I don't know everything about it, but Bored Apes, that's the one. Bored Apes Yacht Club was the one that like everybody bought into and all these big movie stars had. And now it's not worth shit anymore.
Meet with Eve. On the way there, he again sees Sheila, the beaver activist from earlier in the game. She is again hard up for donations, and Larry offers to give her $100 in exchange for accompanying him to the bathhouse. When they arrive, Eve is excited to see Larry and doesn't seem to mind that he brought along a second woman. The scene progresses exactly how you'd expect it to. Larry heads home to find that Sassy had prepared a
Of course it does. Of course it does.
He isn't interested in eating food. What happens next is an extended sex scene that checks nearly every box and culminates in John coming home and walking in on Sassy and Larry. We then go back 20 years into the past, where young Sassy and Lopez are standing beside a lake. The same lake where Larry went to jerk off earlier in the story. But at this point in time, Sassy and John were dating, but Sassy had cheated on John with Lopez. At the lake, Sassy was trying to express her regret to Lopez, but the conversation was cut short when John showed up. Lopez and John began arguing, which led to John stabbing Lopez in the stomach, killing him, and throwing his body into the lake. Fast forward 20 years, and that same murderous rage that caused John to murder Lopez has been awakened by the sight of Larry and Sassy doing the nasty. John shoves Larry, who cracks his head open on a nightstand. Blood begins to pool on the floor, and the scene ends with Sassy calling an ambulance. We then get a Fallout-style recap of our actions and their consequences before viewing one final scene. In my playthrough, John and Sassy divorce. John moves away, and Sassy sells their house. With the earnings, she gets an apartment in another city that she and Larry move into together. They also take an exotic vacation. The game ends by saying that Sassy seems happy, or at least Larry chooses to believe that she is. I didn't bother to play through to see any other endings, but from what I've read, there's an ending where Larry dies, and another where he time travels 20 years into the past, and somehow quantum leaps into the body of Lopez so that he can be with young Sassy. I wouldn't say that I enjoyed playing through No Mercy. I'm not into animated pornography, and I'm also not a fan of the sort of family stuff that is at the core of the game. I played through it purely because I had to know for myself what sparked all of this panic over adult games being sold on Steam and itch. Collective Shout called the game a rape simulator, which I can't entirely agree with. The game does include depictions of rape, but they occur in the context of a larger story, and there are also plenty of other things going on in the game. I've seen games on Steam that I definitely would call rape simulators. These are games that don't have any real plot or other mechanics outside of their explicit and often violent sexual content. That isn't to say that I don't find No Mercy to be problematic, but if I had to make an analogy, I would say that No Mercy is more akin to something like Last House on the Left, as opposed to something like the August Underground films. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, tread lightly while Googling those movies. Now, I've watched plenty of films that delve into similar taboos as No Mercy, and these films often feature characters who are as ruthless and demented as the protagonist of No Mercy. There are tons of exploitation movies that are widely appreciated as controversial classics, even though many of them are low budget, poorly acted, poorly directed, and largely lacking in anything other than shock value. Many writers and directors who have worked on such films have gone on to find mainstream success. The same can be said for authors like Bret Easton Ellis or even Stephen King, who has written what I personally found to be unnecessarily graphic depictions of sexual violence against children. In general, there can be a lot of cognitive dissonance or compartmentalizing that goes on when it comes to holding others accountable for things.
And see, this is where I got to the point where, yeah, I was thinking about it. The movie industry and things like that has had, very visceral, violent content that is out there. Last House on the Left is one of them that comes up. You do like Tormo movies? So, I mean, there's stuff out there that, that breaks the mold and still seems to fall under free speech, right? But you also wouldn't see it being sold in a normal store. Like, I don't even know if some of them you could find on, like, places like Amazon. Prime. So would some of these shows, like the one I think about is Martyr. Video. There we go. Martyr is a big one that I think of where like the woman gets tortured and abused. Yeah, if as a horror movie fan, there are some movies where women get brutally murdered. Yeah. And I mean, Last House on the Left, there's a pretty brutal rape scene in it. So there is some agreement there, right? It goes back to the thing where I don't think that this game shouldn't exist. I don't think we should be telling people what they can and can't make per se with certain amounts of lines, I'm sure somewhere, if you're actually using real children, cuties as an example, or, real death, real animal mutilation, things like that. Let's see. What the heck? I got to get a new computer screen. I need y'all to get the grift going. Need y'all to help get the grift going so I can get a better computer screen. You hear me? Martyrs. Oh, it is. It is on there. So, yeah. So maybe it changes it a little bit for me, but outside of videos that would be like what is it called? Oh man, like HBO late night from this is for the old people. Yeah, some stuff should not be greenlit if it crosses the boundary of common sense. Yeah, agreed. And then in some cases, like it's where can it be sold? Set along the fringes, dark, gritty, but that's all it says. 18 plus. So, and there could be some nudity in movies, but do I think Amazon should start opening up full erotic porn section for anyone to find? No, I don't think they should. That's what places like Pornhub are for, even though, my current state has blocked those and make it so that people have to give their IDs to a porn company. I think that's like the worst decision in the world, is to make it the company's responsibility to set up the measure of doing detection. I don't like government getting involved in anything. I'm a huge, libertarian on those sides. But there's got to be a better way than Pornhub holding on to my ID or my picture. Businesses have a right to not sell or sell products. Agreed. And which is why I'm not for the this MasterCard Visa shit where they're going around claiming that they forcing it through these retailers or these credit card companies to make it happen, right? That's not the way it should be. It should be based off of the company. Now, what I do think should happen is when it comes to Before, yeah, I'm gooning on Google Images before giving my ID. That was a good point that I saw brought up too about that. I'll get to that in just a second. The thing I think needs to be considered and looked at and maybe had some kind of regulation added to it comes in the form of regulations on parental controls that companies should have available, because right now each company is widely different. There's no real punishment for not having any parental controls on something. It's based business to business, and most of them do it because of public backlash. At the end of the day, some places are really good at it. Apple is got pretty amazing parental controls from what I've seen using it with my kids. Steam, I think, is lacking because of the way you have to set it up. Like, I'm experienced enough to set it up, but I should only have to open one account for my kid and then be able to set the parental controls and control them from like my app. So I think the only problem with regulation is that some people would twist it into something negative. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. Is how do you fix this problem? Like we talk about, I mean, you just talked about the workaround right here. Is how do you stop Google's algorithm from bringing up boobs when I type in boobs, right? That's not, you're not going to be, are you going to have to do a ID check on every single photo that comes up? Or you have to do an ID check before you search Google? What's the limiting factor there, and how can it be abused? I mean, we've already been seeing that the kids in old UK have been getting around the Discord one by using Fortnite images or images from, what was one I saw, Death Stranding, to get around this ID. I mean, it's this technology technology is never foolproof. And so how do you protect these kids from getting into this stuff while not, making it completely inconvenient for everyone else? I think there are some things that need to be done. There are some problems. There's also something crazy like paying attention to your kid. Now, okay, that is absolute cope from people who don't have kids. You cannot control every single method of your kid's life, and you can't be a helicopter parent, right? Because the moment your kids go off to school, you no longer have any control what they see. I might have really tight restrictions on my kids, the stuff that my kid watches, but the moment he goes over to, or they go over to their cousin's house, their parents may not have any restrictions and let them play games almost completely unrestricted. Guess what? My kid is now going to get inundated. They're going to see that same content. Is it in the same? Yeah. Okay. Were you ever a kid, Vincent? Like, you could tell me porn was bad. I was still going to go look and find it online. And there's content on the internet today that gets fed to kids, like the suicide stuff, like eating disorder stuff, things like that you can tell your kid all day long to be smart. Yeah, I believe you were never a kid. You were grown in a vat. That they're just not going to always listen to you, right? You can do your best with it. No security will be perfect, but the current iteration is horrendous. Yeah, I agree. Modern day parents both are working and they don't have the time to monitor kids 24/7. Exactly. I think it all falls into teaching kids the dangers and consequences they have to fall into, even if some don't listen. I actually think what should be done personally from my side is, at least when it comes to social media apps, that you as a kid shouldn't be allowed to even touch them until you're 16. And education, yes, I completely agree with that. But a lot of that is going to come down to the parents. I don't know about taking a whole class. I mean, there is like, schools have never been great about education. Look at the DARE system, right? The DARE system actually caused drugs to become more common because you took away the mystique of it, right? I'm not, I tell my kids to be careful online, but I don't tell them all the ridiculous shit that I watch up here. Here, we'll come over here. The ridiculous shit that I watch on there. It's just, parents need crash courses into technology and parental controls. You'll never be able to get everybody up to speed, though, too. Sure, that should be on the parent. War had a half decent point about school. Yeah, I mean, you can try and let your parents know. Like, to me personally, what I do is part of the reason that I look up all this shit is, one, I think it's funny, and two, it keeps me aware of the crazy shit that's out there, right? Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to go tell my kid, hey, don't go start watching TikToks about food or, eating disorders, or like TikTok just recently got sued for the underage stripping content where it was promoting underage girls getting paid to strip for pedophiles. There's no amount of things you can do right now because of the way it is to stop your kids from running into some content like that as a parent. You do need some balancing on the government side, as much as I hate saying that, to try and make it work. I don't know what that means. Like I said, I think the best option is no social media for anyone under the age of 16. That's the rule of thumb I do with my family. The 16-year-old part, I have my concerns about Discord and underage people more than anything else. Yes, I agree with that. There has to be a part, though, where you start getting them acclimated to it. Like with personally, from my side, my kids aren't getting their own phone till they're 13. It's going to be completely locked down until they're 16. It's going to still be monitored until they're 18. And then after 18, it's up to them what they do with their phone. So it's still in the parents' hands. I'm not saying that it's a funny thing that kids can be clever and smart, but some are unfortunately naive. Yeah, absolutely. And there are people who are there to take advantage of that, no matter where you go on the internet. It's a thing where if it's kid friendly, it's going to attract people who want to harm kids. So look at Roblox as the example of pretty much being, a pedophile and slave labor market. So, but that's kind of the thing of seeing Mercy. I think Mercy has a place. I don't agree with what Collective Shadows has said. This guy has made me think of it a little bit differently, especially going through it. You could argue with people that No Mercy did have some kind of artistic or what's the obscenity stuff? Let's look this up. U.S. obscenity. No, not obesity. Laws, there it is. Citizen's Guide to Obscenity Laws. So it usually has to have, like, for the U.S., for it to be protected by free speech, it has to meet, when it comes to obscenity, it has to meet several things, right? The Miller test is usually what we go to, which may be an outdated test, maybe, but I don't know much about that. Whether the average person, so one would be whether the average person applying contemporary adult community standards finds that the matter taken as a whole appeals to the prudent interest, i.e. an erotic, words are hard, abnormal, unhealthy, degrading, shameful, or morbid interest in nudity, sex, and excursion. So if there's an interest for it, whether the average person, and this is for the average person, not the gooner on the website himself, because of course the gooner on the website himself is going to say, yeah, I'm the average person that indulges in that content. Whether the average person applying contemporary adult communication or community standards finds that the matter depicts or describes sexual conduct in a patently offensive way, ultimately sexual acts, normal or perverted, actual stimuli, blah, 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 and whether a reasonable person finds that the matter taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. I think No Mercy would definitely have problems with these, considering that it's a rape, fantasy game, a domination fantasy, but it's not like even a consensual domination. It's a full rape fantasy for the male side. And yeah, I'm sure there's women who would like to play it too. Women like to be dominated and men like to be dominated, and men like to feel strong and women like to feel strong. The fall of the internet kids spaces definitely does help with this dilemma too. Yeah. But there is an argument, I think, here for it having some type of artistic value, or, I don't know that it lacks serious literacy. My biggest question is, why do Visa and MasterCard, who are American companies, listen to Australians? So they still have to deal in Australia, even though they, are an American-based company. They can fall foul of Australian laws. Visa and MasterCard are a global company. So anything, they don't want to lose money or lose ability with Australia. That's a huge market that would be hit. Yeah, it's very tiny in the international company. It's a tiny market, but it's still a huge amount of people, right? So they don't want to constantly get sued because they fixed it. And the thing is, it's easier just to do it globally than it is to change the rules from country to country, to implement new rules for each person. That is not an easy task to do from like a processing point. So it's just all of our markets now are so intertwined that outside of like China, I would say, and maybe, some of the some third world countries, that markets like the UK, US, and the EU affect markets heavily. Even Japan, when something happens in Japan, because now Visa and MasterCard are getting hit hard on the Japanese side, so now they're getting it from both ends, and one is like, hey, you need to lift this censorship. The other one is saying, no, you need to keep the censorship and go harder. So it sucks to be Visa and MasterCard, even though they're the ones that made the decision in the long run, right? They let this group pressure them, which has now made it a problem globally for them. But yep, so that's what No Mercy is. And I looked up a little thing on here, and just what was it? No Mercy ending. No Mercy ending. And then there's apparently there's the dominating ending, and then the film ending analysis is only narrative. A film, No Mercy, presents a different. I don't care about that. In the game No Mercy, the dominating ending is often described as anticlimactic by players. It involves a scenario where the protagonist finds themselves in a tense situation with their stepmom, leading to a sudden flashback and an abrupt game over. Players have expressed disappointment with this, feeling the lack of closure and depth, as it seems unfinished or like an Easter egg that requires specific actions to unlock. When we get the Wargaming Dad No Mercy gameplay on Rumble, Coming soon. We'll see if I make a Rumble account. That's just what I want my wife to walk in on, me playing No Mercy to my few fans who would come and watch it. Oh, man. So with that, let's move on here. Next is kind of a video on what happened with the payment processors. It's got 100K. This is 11 days ago, I think, when everything kicked off. So I'm trying to make sure I get all the info. It's only 6 minutes, though. I feel like that's not enough time. But we'll see what information we get out of this going forward.
Imagine a world where your credit card company decides what games you can buy on Steam. That unthinkable future just arrived. Valve, known for its hands-off approach, has added a new rule that would change PC gaming forever. Not by law, but by the powers of payment processors like Visa and MasterCard. Starting today, Valve updated its What You Shouldn't Publish on Steam section to include content that may violate the rules set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks.
So part of me thinks that Steam did it this way on purpose. Yeah, they probably had to do something like this, but it feels like putting the schizo theory is like putting Steam's payment processors on there and related credit card networks and banks just sounds like you're trying to point the blame at the card processors, and that's exactly what it ended up doing. Steam's not really getting a lot of heat for this, as far as I've seen. Everyone's going after Collective Shout, Visa, and MasterCard.
Banks or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. This seemingly vague line has already been used, as SteamDB has reported the removal of a bunch of games, mainly the ones with incest themes. While Valve hasn't explicitly named the names of the reason for this happening, unconfirmed reports and...
So did the Lily and Incest Boy game get banned too? Like, I feel like, because it seems like it was only porn games. I saw one guy try and say that, what is it? Steam. That Fear and Hunger, a game that I've thought about getting that's like super hard, but has a lot of sexual themes and stuff like that, had gotten banned too. But unless it's in Australia, it's very much still on Steam. Now, it doesn't, like with my settings, it doesn't pop up because of my preferences, but I can click a button and it immediately comes up. So, I mean, there it is. It's marked now. It is now marked as like adult only, which I think it might have always been, but yeah, I can still buy the game. So that one I'm not sure about. I've heard another game was taken down, but I guess I got to see proof. It was like a horror game. Oh no, they were wrong, because both Fear and Hunger and Fear and Hunger Termina are still up. Yeah, I don't know who was saying that they were down in here, but the other one was the mouth washing, which obviously wasn't taken down either. Steam, was it taken down? Steam, because what in that game? The next 3 years are definitely going to be hit hard in the changing world. 2025 is just the beginning. Oh, I agree. I was listening to Vincent's best friend, Queeman, and he was saying, there's some merit to what he was saying, where it's like pretty much it's gone too far. Like we had a point where the censorship was too hard. That was the days when like everyone was getting kicked off of Twitter and other stuff like that. It got lifted and kind of backed away from, to the point that, we're at where we're at now. And now it's being hard pushed in the other direction. So it's, So it just, yeah, excluded by reference. Okay. So it's not, I can still buy it. I wonder if they're getting confused with what it seems like Steam has been doing is it's been increasing its some nudity and sexual content. Like it's controls on seeing the pornographic material, because obviously it's still showing up, but it's just excluded by my preferences, right? Because my kids will get on here and look at games. I don't want them to look for it. But as you can see, I can search for the exact name of the game and it still comes up, but it's excluded because of my preferences. So if it was like a porn game that my daughter's friend told her about, you should go check this out, she could type in the name of it. It would come up, and then all she has to do is click on it. There's no parental controls there to stop her from going to it. Now, if she just searches porn game, I don't think anything comes up. Right? 3 matches, 206 titles have been excluded. Most of my sussy games are still buyable, so all games that got delisted were all shovelware. That's another thing too, is like I wonder how many of them were shovelware and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm sure there's some that don't need to be taken down. That, you know, there is a argument there on some of the people's sides that are going overboard on the censorship bullshit. It just makes them sound like retards. We're going to get to her in a minute. But yeah, I mean, there's some things that are agreeable with there, but it just tends to go too far. So let's keep listening.
Industry patterns strongly point to major players like PayPal, Visa, and MasterCard, the most popular payment methods on Steam. There were even unconfirmed rumors about PayPal's temporary unavailability on Steam pointing to this, but I couldn't find anything that confirmed this was directly tied to PayPal. One group, Collective Shout, a campaign for women, seems to be the ones mainly responsible, having released several articles and open letters to these payment processors making claims about the games on Steam just within the last few days. So as these companies took note of this letter and told Valve they were going to leave the platform, Valve was left with adding this rule and giving these payment companies a bunch of power over Steam. This new rule is important because it's not just a small tweak, it's a fundamental change to Steam, as now these payment processors or other companies like internet providers have direct influence on Steam and what games are allowed on the platform. For many, this is a big worry. If payment companies can decide what adult content is allowed, people are asking, what stops them from deciding about other things next? This is where we get into a slippery slope, where once.
And I hate the slippery slope arguments. Like they hate your game, they're going to cancel GTA. No, GTA has a ton of money to fight stuff like that. They've been fighting groups like Collective Shout for years, and you know, there's a lot of cope out there that it's the wokes doing it, but it's not. It's conservative groups right now. Conservatives are who are in power. I'm sure there are some wokes who would agree with it, but a lot of them are just as much, you know, gooners as some of these guys that are coming in.
Small change could lead to much bigger unwanted changes down the road. Now, it's important to understand that Valve was likely left with
yeah, that's the thing too that gets me, is like they're not going after vanilla porn. They're going after the weird, obscure porn that they can get away with. Right? They're fighting their battles, I guess would be the way. Well, not yet. Yeah, both sides are guilty of it. They just do it differently. Agreed. And you know, I get it. I have my lines. I can be a little bit of a prude on stuff, right? I have kids, so I don't want kids to be like, I grew up on, you know, an unrestricted internet. No one knew what it was. So I understand what it was that they could see on the internet. And the internet, I don't know if it's as worse or if it's better than what it was before. I feel like it's worse. But you want to protect your kids from that kind of stuff. They're going to get to the point eventually when they get older that they're going to start finding things and stuff like that, and you just hope you just taught them right through the whole process.
Very few choices in this situation, as not listening to the payment processors would have led to them removing their services from the platform, which is what many
better in some ways, worse than others.
by PayPal shortly before this rule was added. Now, to truly understand how big this change is, we need to look at Steam's past. This isn't about the specific adult games.
Oh, hey, here we go. Incest Tales, Sister and Mom, Sex Village, Incest Tales, Webcam Daughter, Slave of the Police Officer, Incest, BDSM, Incest, 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 Incest. So it seems like they're not going after porn games. It seems like they're going after incest games.
Taken down. It's about a complete reversal of Valve's long-standing hands-off approach to moderation. Before, Steam allowed a lot of games on the platform, as long as it wasn't outright.
Or before you take the wrong term and see people dying, now you get groomed. Yeah, and that's the scarier part is someone like talking to my daughter. I mean, I've had it happen with a friend that their daughter, they caught their daughter talking to like a 40-year-old guy. I don't know how far it went, but it happens, and it's terrifying from a parent's point of view around this. Though there seems to be a group of people arguing that it's okay because grandma and grandpa are like 15 and 30 when they met. Absolutely deranged.
Illegal. The main times Valve would take down a game were if it had some malware inside, broke one of the very few Valve rules, or a specific government requested to get it removed. Valve's position with moderation and the relaxed rules led to Steam having a large number of adult games and sometimes other controversial content. This position Valve had brought them a bunch of complaints. In 2018, Steam faced criticism for a hate group problem due to lax enforcement against hate speech. Now, this wasn't a game, but it shows how Valve generally handled moderating across the entire platform. In December 2022, US Senator Maggie Hassan even questioned Valve's efforts regarding Nazism, white supremacy, and misogyny on the platform. In late 2024, ADO made a report about how Steam had an extremism and anti-Semitism problem, which led to another US senator.
Isn't there always an extreme? Yeah. Did I miss Hassan? Hold on. Let's go back. Boop.
Controversial content. This position Valve had brought them a bunch of complaints. In 2018, Steam...
Call me crazy, but I feel like history repeats itself. Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes to like these groups, there's always been censorship groups as long as there's been media. And I mean, even as before media, not Hassan Piker, but it's funny saying the same name. Oh, yeah, fair enough. You get triggered is what I'm getting at. So, I mean, there's always been this kind of censorship media. It's been around forever. Christian idealism versus freedom of speech. It's been a back and forth. And gaming, once it started getting more graphics like I saw someone trying to argue, even Atari had a porn game, if I remember right. But so people are always, we love sucker moms. Yeah, that's exactly where it's coming from. White women is always at the forefront of censorship. And I think it's just because of Atari had a lot of porn games. Yeah, there was stuff like that was around. So there's always been pushback on this. And most of the time, the line moves a little bit forward and a little bit back for the most part. So I feel like a lot of the stuff that's going on here is kind of like a doomerism mentality. I want to say it's not going to be as bad, but then, I'm probably wrong. Where is... let's be honest, the world would be boring place without conflict. I mean, you're not wrong. This is what I like doing on the internet, playing games and watching the drama of the world unfold. I don't usually do it in political form. I prefer to like low tier drama, but but it is there, and I do enjoy it.
Face criticism for a hate group problem due to lax enforcement.
I do think one of the big breaking points was Mortal Kombat. I actually, are you talking about, the original Mortal Kombat? Sure, that was a big breaking point for how graphic and gory it was. So, it started falling into the same, I'm sure it started falling into the same things. It'd be interesting to look at the history of that. Internet conflicts give some exciting breaks from the monotonous daily life. Absolutely. People there's this idea, I think that the internet, radicalizes people. And I do think there's some merit to that, but I don't think it's at the rate that people think. Like the average person who gets online and, even talks a little shit or do anything like that, they're just blowing off steam from their day. They're not necessarily becoming, Nazis or communists or things like that. Those groups tend to be loud, but I still see them as more part of the minority than what usually goes on. Okay, I need to do this real quick. Hold on. We're gonna try and save this colony. Internet definitely radicalizes people to a point. Harvest, leg, lung, right lung. We might administer that serum. Surgical inspection. Where is it? Let's do. So if you don't know, Cracks he's got 50 manipulation because he is missing an arm. He's missing an entire shoulder. So I'm going to try and have a slave put a new one on him. So I think it can. My thing is, I think it can radicalize people, right? And there can be some form of radicalization, but I still think that the higher portion is more normal people who go on. Like my mother-in-law or my stepmother gets just as radical watching CNN over Trump than the guy who is having the same arguments online, right? I talk to someone like that and they're okay with a lot of the things that are happening when it comes to the immigrants and stuff like that. So it just depends. Some people's minds are a white canvas and getting into the internet can fill that void. True. Well, some people are easily manipulated too, right? And they can be easily manipulated just as much outside of that as they can inside of it. Why can't I? What is this? Prosthetic arm. Yeah. How do I get you? It's been so long since I've done one of these. Harvest, remove tongue. There we go. Left shoulder, right? Left shoulder. There we go. Let's put you on the good meds, okay? On the good meds. Yeah, let's go industrial. And Barrow, there we go. Especially children. Well, yeah, children are, and that's the thing where I'm like, we need to find something for children because they are more malleable than everyone else, right? So where that line is, I have no idea. I think it's just a bigger population areas. You would see IRL protests and riots than in lesser populated areas. Well, yeah, there tends to be like there's this idea that people, when they are gathered together closer, there tends to be more of that when you stack people on top of each other than in more rural areas where there tends to still be more community, like small towns and stuff like that. Not that those places can't be oppressive, because they definitely are. Oh, goodness. Let's see how this goes. Hopefully she doesn't kill him. If so, nice. Health. Prosthetic arm. We'll see how that brings it back up. But let's keep going here, getting further into this.
Against hate speech. Now, this wasn't a game, but it shows how Valve generally handled moderating across the entire platform. In December 2022, US Senator Maggie Hassan even questioned Valve's efforts regarding Nazism, white supremacy, and misogyny on the platform. In late 2024, ADL made a report about how Steam had an extremism and anti-Semitism problem, which led to another US Senator, Mark Warner, asking Valve to do something or face further scrutiny by the US government. But Valve usually just ignored these complaints and requests for stronger moderation. As long as
they should
illegal or broke their existing rules, they generally wouldn't intervene with the content on their platform. So now, payment processors are no longer just handling your transactions, they're becoming content gatekeepers with massive power over what can be bought and sold online. The thing is,
I can tell you this, I think it's worse for a company to hold this kind of power over a actual like government, because at least with governments there's some control under the people, like you have to somehow answer to the people. So having a company do it, where we've seen companies completely destroy entire towns, drinking water, and pollute areas, on train lines, I would much rather it be government, because at least I can call my governor and yell at him.
This isn't just a Steam issue. This is happening all over.
Or at least write him.
Showing a clear pattern. We've seen major hits in Japan's anime and manga market. For example, platforms like Soruga and Manga Library Z were forced to remove adult content or even shut down because payment processors demanded it. Another Japanese platform, DL Site, even tried to fight back, temporarily blocking Visa and MasterCard to keep its adult content available. Just this year, payment processors in Japan started holding back money from adult game creators on Steam. This was such a big deal that it led to an official investigation.
You guys have nothing to complain about because you have Buc-ee's. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, companies are powerful. People might not believe it, but yeah, they have power. Well, yeah, I mean, you look at like a lot of legislation that comes out, they have tons of money to, send to trying to get governments to change laws in their fashion. Copyright law is one of those great examples where it has gone so far beyond what's comfortable for the customer to where they just basically own complete rights to everything, to the point that games can just die.
Investigation by the Japanese government into these payment companies and their practices. It's not just Japan either. OnlyFans in 2021 famously announced that they would ban all sexual content because of pressure from their payment processors, until they reversed the decision. Patreon too has faced similar issues in the past. So as we're seeing with Steam's new rule, this isn't just Valve's problem. It's a widespread issue showing how these powerful payment companies
Wally thought that
what gets sold and what doesn't across the internet. The thing is, now we're seeing this first step. If payment processors can now influence certain kinds of adult-only content, the real question is, where does it stop? This is the big concern for many people. If these powerful companies can block one type of content today, what prevents them from moving on to other types tomorrow? Could it be games that talk about different political topics? What about games that tell stories some people might find controversial or challenging? Could they even push for changes on games that don't fit certain beliefs?
See, a lot of this I think is overly fear-mongering it. Like, the slippery slope they're going to take away everything, when a lot of the stuff, like, there's just as powerful groups out there than that will fight against us. Like, and this could very well be changed by gaming companies that don't want to see this kind of censorship, that want to continue to be able to make the games that they want to make. But I guess we'll see in the long run if that even works, if that even comes to fruition.
They're perfectly legal. The door is now wide open. Before, Steam decided, but with Valve's new rule, these payment processing companies and others like internet providers now have a huge say for what's allowed on Steam. This means they could in the future decide what games you buy, not based on laws, but on their rules. This is a big deal because it takes away control from Valve and gives it to these companies whose main job isn't about games or art, but about money and transaction. Now, I've already seen a few different suggestions from different Steam users, including exploring different payment options, like maybe crypto, or even the possibility of Valve developing its own payment system. Think of a Valve Pay to get around these restrictions entirely.
I mean, I could see Valve makes so much goddamn money. I could see them starting their own payment processor. I don't know how that would work, though. You're talking like being a payment processor has so many laws and regulations and things like that around it. I don't know if Steam is even considering that kind of change, but it'd be interesting to see an actual competition in the market versus it only being under two companies that work well with each other. Oh no, I need to buy stuff. I mean, it be what it be sometimes. Let's get some alpaca meat. Where does that put me down to? 500 coming in. Do I need anything else? Is there anything else here? Can't sell any slaves. Don't need any of that. Don't need any of this. I don't need some plate armor. And animals. Reaction. Shaping. Social. I mean, this is the one that I've got to get him. I've got to get Cracks to start reading. The Survivor. He's going to bring this. He's going to bring this back. Well, that's a long way away. I ain't going after that.
Directly influenced by powerful payment processors, card companies, banks, and internet providers, marks a big moment for the platform. What do you think Valve should do? Should payment processors have this much power?
No, absolutely not. It should not be in the hands of payment processors when there's already laws in place by governments, right?
MasterCard and Visa.
Okay, that's enough of that. So, absolutely should not be in their hands.
Trying to buy a game on Steam, only to find out it's...
So apparently Visa has responded. This was one day ago. Now, capitalism is always a double-edged sword. Yeah, I think there's a problem when capitalism starts changing into corporatism, where it goes beyond... there's a certain point where it starts to get so big that you start to lose the benefits of capitalism. Innovation starts to get stifled more. It's more about making it cheap enough to sell so that the number always goes up, stops being consumer friendly, gets to the point that some markets completely just work with each other. So there is none of that competition that would actually, bring about real, real price changes. So, and I think we have kind of started slipping into that. But this next one is Visa responding. So we'll go here.
Vanished. Not because it's illegal, but because Visa and MasterCard decided you can't buy it. Over the last few weeks, tens of thousands of games have been removed from both Steam and itch.io, and it's all due to pressure from payment processors. This isn't just about a few controversial titles, it's affecting everything from small indie projects to mature but otherwise legal games. It's a new reality where gamers no longer get to decide what they can buy. But gamers aren't just sitting back. There are reports of a mass campaign, Operation Fighting Fire with Fire. Their goal? to bombard MasterCard and Visa with calls and emails, mirroring the tactics used by groups.
I hope we never get to the point where corporations replace government. Maybe it would happen, but maybe it won't. I don't know that we would ever get to that point. It would be like super dystopian, of course. Yeah, that would be terrible.
Who initially
I like playing games in those kind of dystopian worlds. I don't want to live in one.
targeted Steam. Collective Shout claimed victory with around 1,000 emails, and gamers believe they can collectively shout much, much louder, simply letting MasterCard and Visa know, hey, these games we want to buy are legal, let us spend our money. So, as gamers express their frustration, Visa has responded to multiple emails with what appears to be a copy-paste response. I've seen multiple different emails, but they all had the exact same reply, so let's see what Visa has to say about the situation. Thank you for reaching out and sharing your perspective. As a global company, we follow the laws and regulations everywhere we do business. This sounds fair. Visa says they follow the law. Obviously, if something is illegal, that is its own situation, and I would agree that it should be banned from Steam. But these games we are talking about are legal, which is the problem. While we explicitly prohibit illegal activity on our network, we are equally committed to protecting legal commerce. If a transaction is legal, our policy is to process the transaction. We do not make moral judgments on legal purchases made by consumers. This is a very strong statement. Visa claims they don't judge what people buy if it's legal. And if a purchase is
it doesn't seem to be that way.
Legal, they process it. This sounds great. This is what you would assume a payment processor would do. But if you have been paying attention at all to the situation, you would know this is simply not true. From games to crypto, guns, anime, porn, even energy companies, and so much more. But back to Visa's statement. If they don't make moral judgments, what does it even mean? It means they claim they don't care if content is adult, violent, or controversial as long as it's legal. They say their job.
Amazon security robots death squad for giving one Star Wars review would be terrifying. Oh yeah, absolutely. How dare you talk bad? Well, there's the joke about Disney being the arbiter to take over for that. Though I think Amazon is probably now like eclipsing them.
Job isn't to decide what's right or wrong morally, but just to make sure money moves for legal products. So they are saying one thing, but then doing the exact opposite. Visa continues in the email. Visa does not moderate content sold by merchants, nor do we have visibility into the specific goods or services sold when we process a transaction. This claim is also very clear. Visa says they don't look at the content being sold. Visa and MasterCard are intertwined in so many businesses around the world, you can't actually expect them to go through every single one to review and moderate everything.
True.
Visa also says they don't see what's being sold when money moves. So if they don't see the content, how do they know if something is quote-unquote risky? Well, they rely on reports from banks themselves, complaints from the public, or even activist groups to flag a merchant as risky. So Visa won't look at every single game, but if a platform like Steam has a lot of content that's getting complaints, Visa can view the entire platform as a risk, which is how Collective Shout were able to get
Visa that makes sense
to listen to them. By painting Steam and itch.io as this very bad place, asking them to demonstrate.
It seems like itch.io was the big first one, that Steam may have been later, because itch.io is the first one to drop all of the porn games, and they went like ham on it, where Steam was not that way. They seemed to only ban very specific games, seemingly about incest.
Corporate social responsibility and immediately cease processing payments. But Visa continues in their email. When a legally operating merchant faces an elevated risk of illegal activity, we require enhanced safeguards for the bank supporting those merchants. The last part is key. Visa says if a store has a high risk of illegal activity, they make the banks working with that store take extra steps to be safe. But notice they don't say the content is illegal, just that there's a risk of it. Visa claims...
Well, I don't know that Visa or any of them have ever claimed it's illegal. And I think just saying, well, it's not illegal content isn't the point. It's better to argue on a free speech aspect of it and, focus on trying to get them to change their ways to meet. Like, if I think they should do it worldwide, it should be meeting, U.S. free speech standards.
Do not make moral judgments on legal purchases, and do not moderate content. But let's compare that to what Valve and itch.io actually said about the recent changes. In classic Valve fashion, they were quiet on the issue, with the only official information we have from them is the new rule change and an official worded response they gave out to multiple different journalists. In their response, Valve hinted heavily that payment processors were threatening to cut them off. They stated they had to retire certain games because losing payment methods would prevent customers from buying any titles on Steam. This made it clear that Steam was now at the mercy of these payment processors despite
that's fucked.
the usual hands-off approach to legal content. itch.io was even more direct. They flat out stated they changed their rules because payment companies threatened to block all payments on their platform. So if Visa isn't making moral judgments or moderating content, why were these threats happening over legal material? Is Visa implying Steam and itch.io are lying? Well, the answer is in one vague word: risk. Visa states they require enhanced safeguards when there is an elevated risk of illegal activity. But risk is a broad term. Often, it's not actually about illegal
Yeah, extremely scummy, but legal, definitely.
content, but about anything that might generate bad press or public protests. This gives power to groups like Collective Shout. They sent numerous emails, made phone calls, and ran public campaigns painting Steam and itch.io as risky places, urging these payment processors to cease business, which obviously led into them then pressuring Valve. These payment processors hold all this power because almost everyone uses their cards. So when they label a platform as risky, which often just means enough people complained, they can directly threaten that platform with losing access to their entire payment network. This also isn't just about Steam and itch.io either. We've seen similar problems in Japan where businesses selling certain types of legal adult content have lost payment options from companies like Visa, often under the same risk umbrella. Even Visa's CEO in Japan has been vocally against adult content. This shows a clear pattern. Payment processors, despite their claims, directly influence what can be sold. If they decide a business is risky, even for...
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I was, thinking something earlier, is that like these companies or these activist groups in general, whether it's and even the anti-woke do this because it's the same tactics, is they make a lot of stink and a lot of noise, and they try and trick these other companies into thinking, hey, you're at high risk of getting sued or something along those lines. You need to do something now, or we're going to come after you. It's threats of loss of money, of risk, all those other things. Rico's signal has been lost. Okay, don't care. So it's always this kind of scummy tactics. It's never about what the people actually want.
Or legal content that can effectively shut down that business.
Why do you have all these? Okay.
So this email from Visa is a clear example of a big company saying one thing, while their actions and the statements of the platforms they work with show something completely different. Now it's also important to remember, as this video did have a focus on Visa, there are other payment processors involved as well. There are some reports from people calling MasterCard that issues have escalated to a higher department, as they have been getting calls about this all week. Whether MasterCard's higher department actually does something is a different question that we will just have to wait to see. While the exact behind the scenes...
True, they warn them about backlash. You're right. That's a good way to put it. But it's usually more like backlash. I don't think companies worry about as much as say the legal ramifications of backlash, right? That's kind of like if they just thought, oh, a bunch of people are going to be mad at us, but no one's going to sue, they wouldn't have a problem. But then when it is that way, yeah, they very much get into it. Shooting skill level 10. He joins. I need people, honestly. He wants to stash a prisoner for him. The prisoner, 22-year-old chef name forward Kook. Yeah, we'll go for it. Pods arrived. Boop. All right. But yeah, I mean, It's the same stuff we hear all day long.
Details of what happened between
Games are all woke now, and people just hate woke games, and that's just the way it is.
payment processors and Steam are unknown, one thing is clear. Visa claims of no moral judgments don't match reality. They use vague terms like risk to deflect responsibility while controlling what content is bought and sold.
Well, risk assessment, risk assessment is a very important part of a company's business, right? It's kind of how they make their money. How much risk can we take to make money off of. So risk will always be important for companies. It's not just them trying to blow off backlash. It's how they speak.
Situation makes one thing very clear. Payment companies like Visa and MasterCard have huge unchecked power. They shouldn't be allowed to dictate what legal content can be bought or sold online simply by labeling it risky. Because what really is risky? This unchecked power must be challenged. Payment processors, with their monopoly on transactions, operate as essential services. Like electricity or water, they should be forced to provide fair access to all legal purchases. This is something hopefully we see happen in the future. That's why collective action is so important. From calling and emailing Visa and MasterCard directly to supporting policies like the Fair Access to Banking Act, gamers are making their voices heard. They're now telling elected officials that these powerful companies are overstepping by blocking legal purchases. There are petitions already, with over 100,000 signatures, and I'm sure it will only grow as gamers start to realize how bad this problem really is. So what do you think about Visa's email? Do you think Steam and itch.io removed tens of thousands of games just because they wanted to, and then blamed it on payment processors for no reason? One thing is clear. Gamers aren't accepting this response, and they want payment processors to stop deciding what content can be sold.
Yeah. Whoa. No. I just muted like I always do. Though I have been getting better. About that. I mean, it's there definitely needs to be a balance somewhere between the companies themselves and governments and the people in general. Like, it should be kind of a three-way thing: the power between government, the power between people, and the power between companies. That these companies have become global. They are richer in a lot of cases than most governments in their wealth, right? So I don't know the answer because I'm just a dumb guy, but I don't know what the answer is. And I feel like a lot of the people online are going overboard with it to a point that it's going to get pushed back too far again. But we shall see. I might just sit here and play for a couple of minutes. It just feels there's no trust between the three anymore. Oh, absolutely not. It's been getting worse and worse. The middle class and small businesses is disappearing because of the convenience of the internet and brick and mortar. And that's been happening for a long time, even when bigger stores like Walmart were coming out. Then, government is being government. You see the trust people are having over in the UK with their government, where they're overstepping what I would say their bounds of what a government should do. And it's clear that, like, to me, with the petition that's happening over there, that's probably going to get, I mean, I don't know how it's going to go, but it's raising fast. That this isn't something that the people want, but they seem to be pushing on with it. And now the U.S. is posting about a potential or another, Child Safety Act law. So it all seems like it's going in this censorship direction. And I'm hoping we can at some point bring it back to something moderate. But I feel like the moderate has just been left behind for the extreme. What do I need? I need a new slave collar. I'll just make 2. And a new slave body strap and some new tribal wear. But yeah. Lots of fun stuff going on with that. I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I don't know that, I don't want to read through, even here, I stopped and was like, I just don't want to watch Savvy's video on it because she seems to be the big anti-woker pusher, even though I don't know that she's doing much compared to some other people. I think as wretched as that Ava V person is, she seems to be actually contacting groups like Visa versus doing the just call them and hit all of their stuff with tons of calls, basically DDoSing their call center. But who knows? Boom, boom, boom. She got all kinds of wind in her sails after that one retweet. Oh yeah, absolutely. She's trying, to me, it's not even, I don't even know if it's real. Is it actually that she believes in this, or is it that retweet? Who was it with? What was it? Was it Asmund that retweeted her? Because, I mean, and it's are you any more caring about it, or do you care that you can milk this for as much content as possible? Savvy makes such crazy schizophrenic. Oh, it was the Japanese politician who did it. Of Savvy's? That I didn't know. I'll have to. A mining working camp. What does it have? It just seems like it doesn't seem. Oh, components only 13 though. I'm good. It just doesn't seem real anymore. And when she writes about something, she can't just write about it. She has to give some schizophrenic speech about how it's going to ruin everything, doomerism and slippery slopes and everything else. Oh, Lemur and Bureau are a couple now. Oh, slaves in love. And it just gets why you don't even want to read what she has to say. Is anyone actually reading what Savvy has to say because of her little rants? I want to say not. I need more people so that I can get more grav stuff so that my ship can get bigger and I can actually start expanding. But yep, that's what's been going on with that. So I've spoke about it a little bit. I think Angry Canadian actually wanted me to talk about the British politics stuff. I pulled up a little video on it, but it's going to be a little bit too late to watch. We may watch it on Wednesday, depending, though I know I'm going to probably be covering the Alyssa Mercante reply to Ron Coleman, because we're getting close to seeing if we're going to get to Discovery and go through there. Oh, no worries about that. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting subject. And now that it's happening in the U.S., now that there is a law that has hit the books that's kind of mirroring it, I have more interest because it really could affect me. The British or the UK one, I don't know. I don't know how much it's going to affect the U.S. like I said, it could. Things happen in those markets that affect the entire world. But I think there's got to be some kind of pushback. I'm hoping somewhere to God while I clean my my AR. Oh, that video. I think someone else suggested that. Oh, yeah. You're talking about the one that was in. Let me go to Discord here. Discord. No, I think that was a different video. No, you were talking. Are you going to talk about this? Is I think the comment I saw. Let's see, content suggestions. Didn't start with Social Justice the musical. Oh, that looks funny. Kamoji always brings me some good ones. General. Oh, yeah. It was the tweet. So the Tectone thing, this is pretty interesting. I'm going to re-look at his videos in a couple of days to see what the view count looks like. But 800 views on his last stream, where the one before it was like 150K. Holy shit, man. That is nuts. And actually hilarious if he's getting view botted. Where is she at? Okay, she's sleeping with the monkey, I guess, or with the Chewbacca guy. That is, yeah, that video I think someone else suggested. No, never mind. I'm reading stuff again. I can't, like, it would be just so funny if Tectone on Twitch didn't push past 1,000 from now on. Then it's like, are his kick views even real? Is anyone actually watching his content? Bum bum bum. Ba-dum-bum-bum. No, not that book, you dum-dum. Assertive. You are the new leader of the tribe. You have to learn how to be assertive. Yeah, that fire's getting bigger. I think we'll be okay. What else? I don't need any of these people. Well, I guess he's a rancher. To handle animals. Cooking, 7, 8. They're both pretty good. Boom, boom, boom. I have nothing more to construct, and I can't construct much because the robos are chasing me. Damn. Cracks got rescued by all of his brothers just to have them all get murdered by robots. Yep. So, as always, guys, y'all who are watching, probably all already know, but you can always give me content suggestions, come into the Discord, send me something, a tweet or a video. Like and subscribe, as always. I like getting more content. After we read the Alyssa Mercante, I kind of want to get into some of this YouTuber drama. It's really VTuber drama, just to learn more about the VTuber world and what's going on with it, because I think that's caught my interest. I must know more. What do you got? What? Oh, is it my... Okay, get up. Go kill it. Go kill it. There we go. Get him. Get him. Boom, boom, boom. I'd like to get more information on the VShojo stuff, but it seems like most of it is just VTubers complaining. No one's really said anything more about what actually went on at the company. And I feel like there should be more juice in that container, but it just doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. Maybe someone will put some stuff out. Get faster, guys. Get faster. Windy. There's the torrential rain. That'll take it out. Easy, easy. Do we have health? Why is no one, huh? To be honest, part of me misses the early 2000s to 2010s. You know what I mean? You're not wrong. It felt like it was easier times, even though it probably wasn't. I mean, what was I doing around that time? I had an Xbox and a PlayStation. I could play with my friends. I just started being able to play with my friends online. You know, and you know, we could still do couch co-op. We could still do landlines. Whole different world now, though. And it's crazy how fast the world has changed in as little amount of time. Like, or I feel like it's been a little amount of time, even though I'm an old man. Okay, are you gonna... Oh, I don't have anyone as a tailor, I bet. Yep. Do some tailoring, bud. Give me some new clothes for our tattered princess there. Okay, got wrapped up. Good, good. Good, 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 good. So, I'm also trying to get used to this no pause. It's a little different for me. I'm used to pausing the game when I need to do stuff versus just letting it roll out. So that's what happened with the other 3 colonists. I'm not bad at the game. I just not used to no pause. But, you know, there are a lot of, you know, you got to talk about, like, there are a lot of, when it comes to the gaming anyway, we talk about the gaming sphere. There are a lot of great things. Like, I think we are going into a more golden age of gaming, at least in the indie market. Like, people talk about the crash, and I don't think there's ever going to be a crash like the crash, what was it, 83? I don't think there's ever going to be a crash like that again. It's just the companies are too big and gaming is too popular for that to happen. But I do think we're going to see some kind of changing of the guard, at least in a lot of companies. These indie guys are going to be they're already pushing the limits on gameplay and everything else. So why wouldn't they also do it on other stuff? Of course, we're Steel Collar. Yeah, indie games have grown. Yeah, it's become so much easier. Things that, like, and I hate to tell people, but a lot of the things that have made these, you know, gaming indie scene better is due to some things in the AAA market, like Xbox making it easier to platform those kind of games, Steam going in and doing all of the stuff that they've done that encourages new markets in gaming. I mean, we have guys who make themselves millionaires overnight by being the one person to make a game, like Stardew Valley, I think is made by one guy, or was made by one guy. The Undertale is one guy. It's amazing what can be done. Also, indie animations. Yes, animations are getting better. It feels like the one area that really hasn't gotten all that much cheaper is the movie industry as a whole when it comes to indie movie industry. People don't need to make a Hollywood, just go indie. Yeah. I mean, I've gotten into the point that I like some of the more, like, I'm watching so many more smaller games. I don't really care for big Hollywood movies as much anymore. I don't even watch a lot of movies. I like my niche little horrors. My favorite little horror is my favorite horror genre is found footage, which can be pretty cheaply made, and I think there are some great found footages out there. There's some bad ones, like it's because it's a cheap medium. anyone could try. And there is a suspension of reality you have to go for with it. You know, like, why has this guy still got the camera and all that jazz? But I mean, to me, it adds a sense of realism that you don't get from just a normal horror, everyday horror movie. So, though I have had faith, I watched Sinners, man, and that blew me away. That was such a good movie. Probably one of the best vampire movies I've seen in a long time. Uh-oh. Flo the Cat movie is proof of that. Flo the Cat movie. Do I know what that one is? Boop. This isn't going to be like cat porn, is it? Oh. Oh, no, I hadn't seen this official trailer. Wondrous Journey. No, I don't want to go there. Better Than Dusk Till Dawn. It felt like a nod to Dusk Till Dawn. I don't know if you can put it in that same... I think you can put it up in that same genre. Does it beat From Dusk Till Dawn? I don't know. I don't think so. And even like Lost Boys, talking about like some of my favorite horror movies from the past, Lost Boys, From Dusk Till Dawn. There was one more that was around that time that I can't remember the name of. And you know, then I felt like I was watching those movies again, kind of deal. Like there's a lot of familiarity with it as a vampire movie. Did they just... Okay. Boom, 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 bottom. So I'll have to look at that Flow one because that looks interesting. But I mean, yeah, you can... With the rise, and I hate to say it, with the rise of AI technology, it's going to make it easier for true artists to shine. Like, yes, there's going to be like people that make slop out of AI, but I just don't like none of the AI I've ever seen, whether it's the AI movies, AI art, things like that. Like, it just doesn't have the same life that I see with really good artists. You know what I mean? What is this? Oh, polluted soil. So, but I think as a tool, especially in the gaming industry, it's going to help people who are very skilled at their craft be able to do stuff quicker and maybe even more precise. That's my belief anyway, though. Or I could be just AI bad. I need... What is this? Oh, unfinished flag vest. Don't care. Yeah, while I have my issues with AI, it can be used for good. Some people just misuse it. Yeah, I mean, I think there is some things we need to look at seriously with AI. One of them is the dating app stuff. I think that's like there's going to be a huge problem, or like I want to feel like there's going to be a huge problem with people like losing connection with other people because you can get an AI to give you the feelings that you know, give you the attention you want to get, and you're going to miss out on real human connection. I've also seen the ones where people are, you know, trying to copy a loved one. Like you make a copy of yourself, an AI copy of yourself, so that if you die, a loved one can talk to you. And I just think there is something fundamentally wrong with not going through the motions of getting over that feeling, right? Also using the voices of dearly departed. Yeah. Just there's just something like morally wrong with that. but people who have had loss will want to do it. And it's like, is it the same? Because the moment you turn off that computer or that tablet or anything else, it's no longer that person. I mean, it never was that person. So it's never going to be the actual person there. But it's like you come to the, like, would you not come to the realization the moment you turned it off that they're not still there? You just keep going back to this thing like a drug. All right, we got 11 days left. That's almost grown, and then we're going to get out of here.
We got
You can tell it's the end of the night. Anyways, yeah, there's no consistency with Elon. Like he's the very, like, Grok is the example of AI going bad. It literally became Mecha Hitler. And now it's the sex bot. Like, it went from Mecha Hitler to the sex bot. It's like two sides of dystopian territory. And I actually think, like, I wouldn't be surprised that after Will Stancil goes through his lawsuit stuff, that there isn't some kind of government oversight. Maybe not, because we're in a conservative group or a party, but I would still think so. But anyway, with all of that, dire straits for my ship. Only one waster left, and my slaves seem to be doing good. Like, they're so suppressed that it's a 0 fall rate. So terror is a way to keep slaves suppressed. Yeah, so I guess just my terror and what they're wearing is good to go. So I'm going to try and rebuild this, see if we can save this run, get some more people in it. I'll be back on Wednesday, as always. If you have anything, links down in the Discord. Send me something you want me to watch, and we will go from there. All right, guys, y'all have a wonderful night. Peace.